You know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports. When
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
It's all about timing, OB.
It is about timing.
Because opinions, look, we'll get into some specific opinions, and I'm not going to pick fights. We're just going to point out what I think all media does. Maybe even we. Maybe. I don't know. So you can point it out if we do. But, like, I believe people double down on their opinions when they get any kind of resistance from the people, right? So if you go hard at A&M, and then you get this, what's the word I'm looking for here? This almost liquid courage, if you will, when people go against you. And then you're emphatic about it. And then now it becomes part of your identity when you doubt on A&M or you doubt on Georgia or you doubt on whoever. Like, you kind of enjoy the me versus that fan base. Like, I think people double down on opinions based on the reactions that they get without actually taking a step back and just evaluating the situation with clear head, clear eyes.
I think some do that, and some are willing to say, I was wrong.
Yeah.
But it seems like the ones that, and may be wrong on this, but it just seems like those that, like, use your term, double down on their opinion, even when it looks like it's been proven wrong, they're the loudest.
Yep, they're the loudest. So A&M coming in at number 3 in this college football playoff committee rankings. I don't got a problem with it. I don't. I get it. Like, Indiana didn't do anything to lose the number 2 spot. Ohio State didn't do anything to lose the number 1 spot. Could you say A&M did something? I know a lot of folks are holding the first half against them. I know a lot of folks are.
That is stupid, too. Because all that showed me is, yes, A&M was not ready to play the game. And they got in a hole because they weren't ready to play. And then they showed what they're capable of doing in 30 minutes. Actually, in less than 30 minutes.
Your good friend Hunter Yurachek, the College Football Playoff Committee chair, says the committee, in evaluating the first half of the A&M game versus South Carolina, didn't look very much like a number 3 team, falling behind 30-3. Oh,
they didn't.
Thanks, Captain Obvious. Appreciate that. And having 3 turnovers in that half. But in the second half, they looked everything like the number 3 team in the country, dominating the second half without scoring South Carolina 28-0. He's telling us stats. Thank you. Outgaining them 371-76, holding South Carolina to 11 yards of total offense in the fourth quarter. What the committee saw in both the Indiana and A&M are good teams that find ways to win games when they don't play their best. And that's what Indiana and Texas A&M both did. Indiana on the road at Penn State, Texas A&M at home this past weekend against South Carolina. I learned nothing from that statement.
Yeah. Again, if I was the A&M lawyer in this that deal, I would have said, again, Indiana did not play well for 58 minutes and then had one clutch drive.
Yeah.
A&M did not play well for just a half and then absolutely dominated the entire half. And we can argue about who had the better team. I know this, since this is important to the committee, Penn State had a backup quarterback when Indiana had South Carolina had their starter that was a preseason Heisman contender.
So, but what I'm doing, I don't think you're doing this, but what I'm not doing, I'm not arguing that A&M should be 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5 right now. There are 3. All I'm saying is the energy and the arguments that people use, just use that same lens. Right? I'm fine. If you think, hey, I just think A&M's the number 3 team in the country because I don't think the teams that they have beaten in the SEC are worth anything, and I've heard that, by the way. Look, I disagree, and I'll tell you why I disagree, because I'll point out the exact examples in the Big Ten, but we can have a disagreement. right? But just use the same argument. And I think, as I started the show off with you, OB, it's about timing.
Okay.
Because if the A&M LSU game happened this weekend, as opposed to before the college football playoff rankings came out, I think A&M would get a different kind of bump, if you will. And the way people would be talking about them would be different. If you alternate when LSU happened and this South Carolina game happened, if A&M just beat LSU the way they did, I think the conversation would be different.
I don't know. And the reason I say I don't know is because when you beat LSU, now there wasn't a playoff rankings, but LSU was ranked 20. And now they're unranked at, 6-4?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but maybe. I'm not discounting that either.
Just the same kind of, you just alternate the themes from that game to now, I guess is what I'm saying. Not what the record is today, but,
Like if you had escaped and had that win just the way it was against South Carolina 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, 3 weeks ago, and just last week had dominated LSU, you would say that.
I'm just saying, I remember how people spoke about A&M, right? And the people were, dude, A&M's for real. They're a real national championship contender. Now what I'm seeing is, dude, A&M ain't a real national championship contender. Look what they allowed South Carolina, the same South Carolina team that almost beat Alabama. I legit saw a national media person say, South Carolina doesn't have a good quarterback. What? Bro, all summer long I heard that he was the number one pick in the NFL draft and the greatest quarterback since Cam Newton. That's what I heard.
Right.
So he's not good anymore?
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing about how people move the goalposts, right?
Yep.
But again, it really doesn't matter. You're going to beat Samford this week. Other teams are going to lose. You're probably going to be 3 again next week because I don't think Purdue is Indiana might even be off. But when they play Purdue, they're not going to lose to Purdue. And then it's going to come down. If you beat Texas, you're going to be ranked probably number 2 or number 3, no worse than 3, but might jump up to number 2. And if you don't, you're going to fall, and you should. So
Bill, how far will you fall?
Well, that I don't know. I don't know. If you fall, you still might be in the top 4. I don't think so, but you still might be. You'll be 11-1.
Yeah.
But I think you'll definitely still be in the top 8, where you're in a position. If you got into the playoff, you could host. But that or I don't know. Maybe that's off. But I don't think it'll be a bad situation. But all that said, I truly believe they won't lose to Texas.
I don't either. Another thing I saw, and I'm not naming people because I'm trying to avoid conflict. I don't remember who said what. I watched a lot of content this morning as I was preparing for the show. One of the guys said that A&M doesn't look like a national championship contender, but Notre Dame does. Like I would put my money on Georgia, Notre Dame, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, look, Notre Dame looks really good. They do. A&M beat, it should matter who you beat. It should matter.
And I would even ask, well, who's the team that Notre Dame has beaten since A&M? And
they'll say USC.
And they'll say USC. Pitt. What's Pitt? Is Pitt ranked right now?
I think they were when they played.
Well,
they're not. They're no longer ranked.
That's like Missouri was ranked when A&M played them, and then all of a sudden they weren't. So once again, there's the moving goalposts, right?
Yeah. It's just whatever fits your argument, your narrative. I actually gave Sydney Clevenger a little bit of an assignment just to I wanted to see what the theme was. I don't know if have you found anything yet, Sid?
I found one thing from Aaron Torres right after LSU.
Yeah, so I asked her just to look at some national media perspectives after A&M beat LSU, just to see what people were saying about A&M, because I feel like the narrative has changed since that game. What AT, who will be on the show tomorrow, what did he say?
Yeah, after the LSU win, he was pretty positive. He said, yes, the conversation tonight will be about LSU, but it should also be about Texas A&M as well. 8-0 for the first time since 1992, as Mike Elko has built a tough, mean, physical team that backs down from no one. Incredible what this man has done at A&M with plenty more to come.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't call him a national championship contender there, but yeah, praise. And I don't think he's not praising A&M, but he did point out, they haven't beat anybody. What if?
They beat 2 teams that are ranked right now in the playoff rankings. I would ask you, how many teams that are currently ranked has Ohio State beaten? 2. I would ask you, how many has
Indiana?
That are currently ranked has Indiana? It might be 3.
I think it's all. Yeah,
it could be 2. It could be 3.
Yeah,
but they're going to be low. So if you looked at everybody in the top 10, only a few will have more than 2 teams, I would bet. I mean, some would.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama. But I don't think, I would think less than, I would guess half of them would have 2 wins over currently ranked teams.
Bama's got like 4, I think.
They've got like 4.
Georgia's probably got, 2 or 3?
Oh, they beat Tennessee, which probably shouldn't be ranked, but they are. They beat Texas.
Did they beat Ole Miss?
They did beat Ole Miss.
So they got 3. Yeah. Texas has got a couple, right? Vandy, Oklahoma.
But they're not in the top 10.
No, but they're going to make an argument. Yeah. And then I'm already hearing we shouldn't have scheduled Ohio State if we're going to be penalized for it.
Or you could just beat them and then you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Like A&M did.
It's interesting. Ohio State scheduled Texas too. They're not doing that argument.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting how that works.
Maybe you shouldn't have scheduled Florida.
They kind of had to.
I know how it works.
It did.
It's just kind of my jab at them for losing Florida.
This is TexAgs Live.
It is. This is TexAgs Live.
We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for agreeing.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
We are.
Thank you very much. Currently sitting up top of the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. So cool here.
It's kind of. I'm feeling kind of cool right now.
Yeah, a little cool. I'm gonna lower my voice a little bit. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can call us on the
Bucky's Catering and Bartending Hotline at 979-693-1150.
That is the Bucky's Catering and Bartending Hotline. And let's go around the room. Say hi. Whoa, did we say this is a go hour?
This is a go hour.
Yeah.
It's brought to you by the Warehouse of CC Creations.
Love them. Good clothing there.
There really is.
Really good stuff everywhere there.
Yeah.
Let's go say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, I am not canceling people. I'm not fighting people. I'm just
pointing. You've been pretty measured this morning. I appreciate that.
I'm just pointing out. What am I pointing out, Opie?
Facts.
Yeah, I just want the same
inconsistencies.
Energy. Yes, there you go.
Inconsistencies.
Yeah, I'm with you. To me, with the new playoff poll comes out every week, it always seems like somebody on the back end, they'll lose and they'll start to drop out of the rankings, and it's starting to make Ohio State and Indiana's resume not look as good. So they'll, throw someone who they previously beaten back into the rankings, like Illinois or something like that. But nonetheless, I don't want to complain about it anymore. I got a fun little. I was looking back, or I started thinking, I should say, how does Marcel's stats through 10 games compare to our last Heisman winner through 10 games in 2012? And I already asked OB pre-show, David, how do you think those numbers are going to compare? Is Johnny blowing him out of the water? Are they similar? What do you think?
I think Johnny had more rushing yards by this point.
Correct.
And I would say passing-wise, pretty similar.
Correct. All right, so I went and did the math. Through 10 games, Johnny and Marcel, about 150-ish pass yards separate the two. Johnny had more, 2,780 pass yards. Completion percentage is better on Johnny. Obviously, blowing him out of the water with rush yards, like OB mentioned this morning. He led the SEC in rushing that year, so plenty of rush yards. Touchdowns not that separate, not that different. Interceptions not that different.
Let me point this out, too. And this is not meant to be a slight at Johnny. This is just looking at things in all fairness. If you're going to make comparisons, Johnny played South Carolina State, which is the equivalent of Samford, which they play this week, which Marcel plays this week. Also, Johnny's arguably, well, not even arguably, the best, the strongest non-conference opponent that Johnny played that year was Louisiana Tech.
La Tech, yes, right. And
Marcel's played Notre Dame and played great.
I would also point out something, Nick. I'd love to see what the rushing stats for the teams were at that point, because I'm trying to remember how much they ran the ball. They passed a lot.
They ran it a lot, but it was Johnny running.
Right.
I mean, who cares? Ben Molina had a nice year, and Christian Michael.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is I feel like this team is a little bit more balanced. It feels like right now in the moment, without looking at the numbers, than that year's team was. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. I'll say this team is not as dependent completely on Marcel as that team was on Johnny. You know what both those teams had, though? They had really good receivers.
Yeah.
And they had a very experienced, proven offensive line.
That team had, 3 really good receivers? Obviously, Swopey and Mike Evans.
Swope, Evans, and
was easy on
Wachiku.
that. Yeah, easy Wachiku.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This year's team? 3, 4 really good wide receivers.
Well, they have 2 really good ones and one that's emerging.
Yeah.
And I think the YouTube chat's pointing out a decent point here. Through 10 games, the 10th game of the season in 2012 was the Alabama game. So Manziel had his Heisman moment there. You could argue Notre Dame game's the Heisman moment for Marcel. Maybe the comeback, whatever.
Maybe the Texas game.
Yeah, maybe the Texas game. We'll see.
You know,
Yeah.
I would say Marcel's had about 3 Heisman moments.
Yeah, I agree. But again, I feel like people have forgotten about the LSU game because what has happened to LSU since?
Yeah, and I might have. Well, you know what? Since they went out and played Alabama on the road and went into the fourth quarter with a chance to win, and then they won a game.
Yeah. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We've already talked to Sid Clevenger, but we're going to get some more intel from Sid Clevenger, or Sydney, I should say. Good morning.
Sid, I think of a
morning.
big, heavy-set guy with probably hair on his back. If it's Sid,
Really?
Sydney, looks nothing like that.
Do people call you Sid?
Even though I've never seen her back.
Okay. Well, I like being called Sid.
Oh, okay. Well, my bad.
I hope
Does your
That's
family
not
call
what
you
you
Sid
think.
or Sydney?
Sid.
Okay. So
You can still call me Sid. Maybe not OB, though.
I'm just thinking that most Sids that I've known, guys named Sid, have been, burly type
So
of guys.
do you look at a lot of Sid's backs?
I've seen them walking around in the locker room when I played football and things like that.
So there's an actual Sid that you're thinking about right
I'm
now.
not just making up guys named Sid.
Yeah. Just
I
so
don't
you're-
know. Well, did Sidney Crosby have hair on his back?
I don't think he did. He was very good.
He probably had it, lasered off or something.
Who knows who Sidney Crosby is? Do you?
She doesn't.
I don't.
What other sports Sydney?
Sidney Poitier.
What did I said? Sports.
Oh, yeah, I'm just thinking of famous Sids.
I know there are some. I'm just not thinking of them right now. Okay, Sidney Clevenger.
I hope I'm not associated with
The hairless back.
hairy backs.
The hairless back Sidney Clevenger.
That's
Sid Clevenger.
perfect.
I don't know how we got here, so I'm going to just hope you
I
have
do
some
not
news.
have a hairy back,
Sid.
by the way.
I believe you.
Okay, I'm going to talk about some basketball. Aggie men's basketball secured another win last night at Reed against the Montana Grizzlies. The Aggies led the game since the 18:38 mark of the first half, but Montana did put up a good fight throughout. They closed the gap to just 1 point behind the Aggies at 81-80 with just 9 seconds left after making 6 three-pointers. In the last seconds, the Aggies pulled through at the line to end the game 86-81. Rylan Griffin, Ruben Dominguez, Rashawn Agee, Pop Isaacs, and Zach Clements all scored in the double digits to earn that W. The Maroon and White will take the court at home again this Friday against Manhattan at 7 p.m.
How many threes did you say that Montana hit? Was it 16? Oh,
6.
They had 16 overall.
yeah.
Yeah, there was like 16 or 31. By the way, they're playing Manhattan on Friday. Trivia question. What is the Manhattan mascot?
The Manhattan Martians.
No. Anybody?
He's Googling.
The Jaspers.
The Jaspers.
I cheated, though. It was on a graphic, and I
Yeah,
just
the
looked
Manhattan
up.
Jaspers.
Huh.
I think Jasper, I might be wrong on this, but I think I read that Jasper was the name of one of their priests that was, that was in charge of the school or something. So they became the Jaspers.
I got a text that said Sid Vicious
Sid Vicious,
from,
the Sex Pistols.
and also wrestler too, right? Both? I feel like there was a wrestler
Well,
called Sid
the
Vicious.
original Sid Vicious
Yes,
was the
from
lead
Sex
singer of
Pistols.
the Johnny Rotten
Yep.
of the Sex Pistols.
Sid Vicious, his name was Sid Udy, but they called him Sid Vicious, the wrestler.
Yeah, and I'm sure that he lasered off all the hair on his
hair
back.
is a thing today. I don't even know how to transition from back hair to 1775.
But I'll tell you,
I guarantee you won't get hair in your food.
I'll tell you, no, that's not what I'm going to say. If I went to 1775 and had for the first time and just tasted that succulent brisket, or just tasted those,
Here we go.
and just tasted that jalapeno cheese sausage or those pork ribs, and definitely that queso mac and cheese. You know what I'd say? I'd say I'm going to be back hair as soon as I can.
I thought you were going to grow back hair because you're becoming a carnivore.
Back hair. I'm coming back hair the next time they're open. Come back here with me.
Come back hair with me.
Come back here with me. David, I went there Friday. Let's go back there. See, not even hair. Let's go back there.
Which accent is this?
It's East Texas, man.
East Texas and Cam Smith mixed into one.
That's Gregg County.
979-492-6241, or you can visit them online at 1775txbbq.com.
Go back there.
Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas. It's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer.
Or is it Bowling for Soup?
We're on the air, by the way.
Oh,
You can tell the people.
No, I was just trying to place that band. Is that The Offspring or is it Bowling for Soup?
That's Bowling for Soup.
Bowling for Soup. Okay, yeah.
Texas natives.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're from, but yeah, you nailed it.
They're
Also,
probably
the
from
authors
Denison.
of the Phineas and Ferb theme song.
Was that right?
Yeah.
When my son was young, he liked to watch that show.
Yeah.
And I liked it too.
Did you really?
Yeah, Phineas and Ferb, man, that was a good cartoon.
Yeah, I walked out of the room when my kids were watching that.
That was a good one.
I couldn't watch it. Hey, we're Texas. I can't watch cartoons unless it's men in tights and a cape.
I'd rather watch a cartoon.
It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Roller Insurance Studios. To Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Caden Schwartner sent us a little note, by the way. He works on the show. If Texas beats A&M, which we don't think is going to happen, got to throw that out there, they'll be the first team since 2019 LSU to beat 3 top 10 teams in the regular season. Interesting stat.
Interesting stat.
If the shoe was on the other foot, if it was A&M we're talking about in that same scenario, and A&M would have been 9-3, considering, in that scenario, considering everything that is happening still, nothing changes, okay? How much do you think we'd be pushing for A&M to be a playoff team?
Probably pushing for it, yeah. If they beat 3 teams. And of course, it also depends on who you lost to as well. Now, if you beat 3 ranked teams and then your losses were to good teams, then, and then how many losses you had,
Right.
that comes into it too. Like three ranked teams, that's good, but 3 losses, man, you are on the tightrope, especially when one of them is Florida. So, I don't know. I don't know if they get in.
Obi, let's get into the games that you want to watch. You want to
Okay.
start at the top of your list or the bottom of your list?
Wherever you want to go.
We'll start off with Arkansas at number 17, Texas.
Yeah, since we're just talking about Texas, this is almost the perfect trap game scenario for Texas, don't you think? It would be the perfect trap game if the game was in Fayetteville, but it's not. It's in Austin, but it's right in between an emotional game against Georgia and then an emotional game against A&M. And here's the thing that, as we know, Arkansas is capable of scoring a lot.
Yep.
Doesn't necessarily mean they will, but they're definitely capable. And if they're having a good offensive game, Texas could be extremely vulnerable.
Well, I want to look up Arkansas recently because since they've played A&M, I feel like they haven't been scoring that much, which is kind of...
Well, they only had like 22 last week or 21 last week.
24 against
LSU.
Auburn, 35 against Mississippi State, and 22 against LSU.
Yeah. So,
how many points would it take to beat Texas? 35?
Yeah, I would think they'd have to be in the 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that'll be an interesting game, and it is a big game for Texas. They can't afford, like we just talked about, they can't afford a loss, but it would be a season saver to some degree. At least for Arkansas, they could end their season by saying, hey, you know what? We beat Texas, kind of like it was for LSU. I mean, for A&M when they beat LSU a few years ago with HA.
Yep. When they were 4-7.
They win that game 4-7, right?
Let's go to the next game. Washington State at James Madison.
You ask me why.
But I
would
ask you
include
why,
that
Olin
game?
Buchanan.
And I'll tell you, well, if you're paying attention, James Madison is actually in the playoff race. They're not ranked right now, but as a group of 5 team, they only have 1 loss. And their loss was, I think, to Louisville by like 28-14. So, they're very competitive in there because I think the team that the group of 5 team that the committee ranked was Tulane with at least 2 losses, right? So they're in there. Washington State, at least it's a name opponent. They're 5-5, so they're kind of decent. But who'll be paying attention to that is North Texas.
Yeah,
because North Texas in the American Conference with Tulane could be playing Tulane at some point, maybe for the conference championship. And North Texas beat Washington State 59-10.
Yeah.
So they blew them out. So if Washington State was to beat James Madison, that could knock them out and put North Texas in a spot where, hey, if they win the American, North Texas could get in.
The next one, Pittsburgh at number 16, Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I think the ACC champion is the only team from the ACC that's going to get into the and this game is probably an eliminator for who gets in.
I agree with that.
Into the conference championship game. So that's Pittsburgh's been playing well, and Georgia Tech, Haynes King. In fact, he's no longer there. Wasn't Eli Holstein?
He was at Pitt
for a while.
I thought he was there at the beginning of this year.
Yeah,
Am I
maybe
wrong?
he might still be there, but he's just not starting anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're talking about they're former A&M quarterbacks or quarterback commitments all over the country. Next, number 22, Missouri at number 8, Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma suddenly they're in the playoff if they close out with wins. Missouri could end the Sooners' playoff chance. Now, Oklahoma just a big win last week.
Huge win, yeah.
Yeah, are they going to be able to follow up against
the Missouri team? Is there anything new on Bo Pribula? He could return. Yeah, he could return for this game. Could is what the headline says. Could, which means probably not, but make
all he's got to do is turn around and hand the ball to Ahmad Hardy.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, that's a heck of a Missouri running game against a really good Oklahoma run defense.
Yes.
So that's an excellent matchup just to see.
Yep, I agree.
And then number 1 on the list would be number 15 USC at number 7 Oregon. An upset would put USC squarely in the playoff discussion and maybe even knock Oregon out. And it would probably kind of hurt Indiana
a little bit, yeah.
But
do you feel like those guys have already made up their mind on that kind of stuff?
Yeah, but I think also if certain things happen, they have to address it.
Yeah.
And if you like points, expect a lot of them in that game.
All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back. I want to ask you about where Bama was ranked at, and then maybe some key players to watch out for in this game. Right now, we're talking duck camp. You got a duck camp on?
I do.
Yeah.
There's the D.
Yeah. Do you think I'm wearing a duck camp?
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the ribbed. I always forget the name of this style.
Sid knows. What do you call that style?
The
Hinckley?
The Henley.
The Henley.
No, Hinckley's the guy that tried to shoot Reagan, right? Yeah.
Is it John Hinckley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he had nothing to do with the shirt.
But Don Henley. You said Henley, right?
Uh-huh.
But Don Henley, that's your kind of guy.
He's an East Texas guy.
Yeah.
From Linden, Texas.
Is he still with us?
Yeah, he's still with us.
He probably worked at camp.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Good old East Texas guy from Linden up there on the way to Texarkana.
Yeah.
I would think Duck Camp would play really well over there.
Duck Camp plays well with the youngsters, right?
Okay.
Christian, Cruz, Quinn, they all like it, right? Plays well with like the middle-agers. Right here.
Even with the old guys.
And even with the prehistorics, right? Like
the geriatric crowd.
The geriatric crowd, right? The centenarians, if you will. Mm-hmm. That's people who make it to 100. So.
Well, let's hope.
Let's hope, right?
I'm not counting on it, but let's hope.
Well, I'm counting on it. Duck Camp, they got a little discount for you TexAgs listeners. If you use the code TexAgs25, you'll get 25% off of your order. Check it all out at duckcamp.com, built for the outdoors and designed for everything else. Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports. And they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs. And remember, gig 'em. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner Schulers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations, currently hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. I'm just going to ask Nick if he knows, because I just want to see, like, at what drop-off, at what age, there's certain things just not become cultural references anymore.
All right.
Nick, are you familiar with Cesar Millan?
Nope.
Are you familiar with the Dog Whisperer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't even know how it came up during the break.
That's his name.
Okay. I know who exactly you're talking about.
Yeah. I thought everybody in the world knew him.
Yeah, I mean, now he sells, like, doesn't he do commercials for dog food and stuff like that?
Does he? I don't know.
Maybe he whispers them to the dog.
Yeah. He was pretty good.
Eat elbow.
Eat elbow.
Eat arms.
They're competitors.
Buck gets the whatever's on sale.
Blue Chew? Boy, that's something else, I think, in this regard.
No, whatever's on sale. That's what Buck gets.
All right, let's before we get into the games we want to watch, what do you think about...
We already did that.
I'm sorry, not the games, the players we want to watch, sorry. Before we get into that, I want to ask you about Notre Dame being ahead of Alabama. Are you okay with that?
Probably not. Well, you know what? Alabama should probably. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. The loss to Florida State still counts.
Okay. So wins versus playoff top 25 teams.
Okay.
Alabama's got 4. Notre Dame's got 1.
Okay.
What else do I have here?
Notre Dame's 2 losses are by a combined, 3 points?
Yep.
Or 4 points to teams that are ranked, including one that's number 3.
What about Notre Dame being ahead of Miami still?
I can understand. If I was Miami, I would be angry about that. I get it. But I do think that the ACC is weak. And when you have 2 ACC losses, I think that's damaging. And yes, the win, like I said about Alabama, the loss still counts. The loss still counts for Notre Dame. But when I go back and look at it, it was different in that Florida State just spanked Alabama.
Yeah.
Miami, they were at home and kind of escaped Notre Dame. Did that game go into overtime, or was it one?
No.
It was one just at the end.
It was one at the end. But they were up all game long, and then Notre Dame made their comeback in the third quarter, made it interesting.
Right, and I'm not going to have any issue with a team coming back.
No.
Because that's why you play 60 minutes, dipsticks out there. If you're only going to play 30-minute games, well, let us know.
Did you see what Brandon Walker said about A&M?
I don't even pay attention to that guy. I know he's been very disparaging.
He has. I think he and Billy are friends, I think. I've never met him.
Billy's friends with everybody.
This is true. He says A&M is a good team, but there's nothing elite about them. But I ask you, what is elite, Olin, about A&M? Well, I can give you a couple things.
Let's see. They have a Heisman Trophy contending quarterback.
Okay.
They got
a sack master.
They got the almost the nation's leader in sack. Probably will be after this week.
Yep. They got Casey Concepcion.
They've got Casey Concepcion, one of the most explosive players in the country. And then when you add when Mario Craver's healthy, you probably have the one of the 2 or 3 most explosive duos in the country. And by the way, Bethel Roman's really coming on. You got an offensive line that is already a semifinalist for the Joe Moore Award.
Mm-hmm.
And I even think that you've got Torian York will not be an All-American because he doesn't have the numbers, and people always look at the numbers. But if you watch how in control he is of that defense and how he knows a lot of times all the plays that are coming, I think he's having an All-American caliber season, but the stats aren't going to be there for him to support him.
Yeah. I would also say A&M is elite at halftime adjustments. Elite.
Coaching is elite.
Elite.
With the exception, there's one issue that they have.
Big plays?
2 issues. On defense, it's big plays, and on offense, it's consistently picking up the 1 yard that you need to get, and maybe even coming up with some bizarre plays to try to get him.
Yeah. Hopefully Le'Veon's back soon. I think it makes a difference.
So when they play Texas, it'll be 7 weeks since his injury?
But how fresh, he'll be fresh, but how ready, if he plays against Texas, how ready will he be? Because I kind of think of it as coming back kind of similar to when Reuben Owens when he came back from his injury, right? Different injuries, but you're not yourself yet.
Maybe, but here's one of the things that I think might be the difference, and I could be dead wrong on this. But, and if he's ready to go, Le'Veon's game is not about speed or anything like that. It's about taking the ball and punishing the guy trying to tackle.
Running through a fool's face.
Yes. He's going to run through more foes than you can count.
Right.
And I just think that, so you're not asking him necessarily to go out and make all the big cuts, even though he's certainly capable.
Yep.
You're not asking him to be so fast that he's running away from people. You're asking him to take the ball and go attack. And I think he can do that on any time.
Do you think A&M is elite at the offensive line?
Well, I just said they're a Joe Moore.
Right.
So obviously the nation thinks they're elite.
Yep.
Now they can get better. They did not have an elite performance in the first half last week, but nobody did.
Right. So basically what we're saying is there's a lot of areas that they're actually elite at.
Yeah, if you're actually paying attention. Now, if you want to be, like you just said, double down on a position just because you're too stubborn to admit that you're mistaken, okay, you're never going to. But like I said, that whole Joe Moore Award committee has A&M offensive line under consideration. You can't deny that Marcel is a Heisman contender, a strong Heisman contender in some people's minds, mine and others, that Josh Pate, that he's the leader. You can't deny what Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver are. You know what? Quite frankly, you have to look at their running back room, and how can you not say their running back room is not one of the best in the country? Because you had Le'Veon Moss, and then he gets hurt, and Ruben Zolan steps in and goes for 100 against Missouri, which is a good defense, and he had 142 earlier. And then he gets hurt, and E.J. Smith comes in, and you never miss a beat.
You don't miss a beat. Morrow as well. All right, let's hit a break here. We should have done the players we want to watch. We'll do that on the other side. Right now, we're talking Rollo Insurance. The difference is real. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rollowinsurance.com/TexAgs. And to family-owned agencies dialed up to TexAgs, Rollo Insurance is doing some amazing work helping small agencies keep up along the slow-motion corporate takeover of the insurance industry. Tech markets, education, and success on planning are big challenges. But if you go to rollowinsurance.com/TexAgs and listen to Keith Lane's comments with Jackson Rollo here in this TexAgs studio not long ago, you can learn all about it. At Rollo Insurance, Aggies are doing all kinds of work to help other Aggies. Check it out. It is rollowinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. Ask for Keith Lane. It is Rollo Insurance.
Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games. They're at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it.
I'm just reading some comments from Dave and Edmund. I said Blue Chew. That's a little different. What I meant to say was Blue Buffalo.
Blue Buffalo?
Yeah, Blue Chew's for help. It's like a performance-enhancing drug, if you will.
Like steroids?
Kind of, for other parts.
What parts?
Parts unknown.
Blue Chew, huh?
Yeah.
Let me write that down.
They want to be a sponsor. Hey now. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center right now. Sorry, Sid, I should have transitioned some other way to you. All right, you've got some comments for us.
Yes, I just want to read this one because I think it's funny. Brad Duncan in the YouTube chat said, Brandon is just jealous that we are the far superior Maroon team in the SEC. I agree.
I don't really know. I mean, I've seen his clip.
Is his team Mississippi State or something?
I think he's a Mississippi State guy. I think he seems like a talented guy. I've seen him on the air. There's certain things I like, but I don't really consume a lot of other. I consume very little college football outside of like the news. Like I watch Pate because it's my guy, right? Jake Crane. I like watching Jake Crane from time to time, but for the most part, I try not to watch other people to infiltrate my thoughts.
Okay.
Just I'll listen to Cannell and Dusty on the way.
On the way to work.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I like watching the SEC Network, like for my news.
You know, I have to admit, and I probably shouldn't, but I like to watch these reaction videos, and somebody will be, watching the A&M game, for instance, and then they'll react to what they're seeing. And I'm just going to say it. Typically, the ones I'm watching are black guys.
Okay.
And then they're fun. Yeah. The way they react and, calling people names and, dropping colorful language. I said, man, I'm here for this.
This is your kind of show. Sid, what else do you have?
Ed asked, of the teams we've beaten, how many losses do they have to ranked teams? Sort of a quality of loss metric.
Oh. Well, that would take some math.
Yeah. And that's why they should have computers do all this, because the computer can take that into consideration. Whereas, I wouldn't trust Hunter Yurachek. I mean, again, I've said it a couple of weeks ago. We're gonna trust finding the best college football and most deserving college football teams to this guy who hired Chad Morris. This is how much he knows about good college football. He hired Chad Morris and Sam.
But at the time, just remind me, wasn't he the hot name though? Wasn't Chad a hot name?
Well, the Aggies didn't hire him.
No, this is true.
And he went to A&M.
This is true. What else, Sid?
PG Ag asked, did any 3-loss teams get into the playoff last year? And yes, number 12 Clemson had 3 losses to Georgia, Louisville, and
South Carolina. But they won their conference
ACC,
championship.
Yeah, they won the ACC.
So they had to go in because they won their conference championship. No, Alabama 9-3, they were out.
Yep.
South Carolina was 9-3, they were out. Somebody else, Ole Miss 9-3, they were out.
Yeah. A&M potentially could have gotten in had they won one of those games down the stretch and also won the SEC championship.
Yeah,
tall order.
Yeah, that's the difference. Clemson won a championship.
Which I'm a little worried about. Like I said, the Big 12. What if Tech loses the Big 12 championship game? They're still probably getting in.
Yeah.
That'll take a spot away from somebody.
And I don't think they will lose.
Yeah.
But yes, but the team that would probably be, at least in my mind, that would be sacrificed would be probably Vanderbilt, who I think will be the 5th SEC team.
Yeah. Dr. Chad's asking us, OB, who's your favorite coach to ask questions to in the pressers over the years?
Well, I used to really enjoy, I like Elko. I mean, Elko will almost always gives a thoughtful answer.
Yeah.
He was asked about some injuries the other day. He said, yep.
But that's pretty standard.
I know. I always had appreciated R.C. Slocum.
Mm-hmm. Class.
Just a classy guy. And I can remember, I've told you before, having to ask him about his job security and situation. And I asked it in such a way, anything, how this game against Oklahoma could affect your job security. He said, what do you mean? He made me actually say, and then when I did, he said, oh, yeah, and he gave me a great answer. I just think R.C. was an honest guy that was that treated people well, much like Mike Elko.
I'll give you a couple.
Okay.
I loved A.J. Hinch.
Okay.
Awesome guy to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Mike D'Antoni, fantastic. Okay. Gary Kubiak,
I can see that.
Fan-freaking-tastic. I'm sure. Yeah, actually, Kevin McHale was great to deal with.
I can see that too.
Right? Didn't love Bill O'Brien.
I can see that.
I didn't love Mrs. Doubtfire, the guy who became the head coach after. I don't even remember the dude's name. He was like a career special teams assistant. He was the Texans coach. He was like Mrs. Doubtfire. He was terrible. We'll be back. Thank you, OB. We got John Harris on the other side. Welcome back into TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance. Studio hour number 2 of the program. Should have John Harris on the program at some point. We do have him. Okay, well, let's go straight to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our dear friend John Harris joining us from footballtakeover.com and, of course, Houston Texans sideline reporter. Johnny, what up?
Fine, David. How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, buddy. Hey, so we just finished this last segment. I don't even know how we got there. A lot of times it's organic. Talking about coaches that we have loved to interview. OB talked about R.C. Slocum, that he really loved talking to R.C. I mentioned Coobs. I mentioned Kevin McHale, Mike D'Antoni, A.J. Hinch. Who are some of the folks that you've interviewed coach-wise? And you've interviewed every college football coach in the world from your time covering the sport. So, who are some of your favorites to have talked to?
I feel like you're baiting me into saying one particular answer that I won't say.
I'm not asking to talk bad about Bill O'Brien. No, I'm not saying that.
That was always an adventure, to say the least. I've been fortunate the last few years that the last three coaches that we have had with the Texans, when things have not gone well, they've been as professional as anybody. David Culley was just the sweetheart. Lovie Smith was great. And D'Amico Ryans, it's funny now doing this my third year, I can kind of speak fluent D'Amico, and I can kind of see when he's got steam coming out of his ears, like he was for the 49ers game at halftime. And those guys have been great. I'll tell you, it was one of my favorite interviews a long, long time ago. And I know this is polarizing because there's some in the media community that are like, John, you're crazy. But I feel like if you tap into the right avenue to take with Jim Harbaugh, you can have one hell of an interview. And we did. We had him for Bear Bryant Awards. I think it was 2009. And we had to use you, David, as kind of a fullback, because we're like, David, could you talk to Oliver Luck and try and get Jim to the event? Because Jim just wouldn't answer the calls from the Bear Bryant Awards committee that I had been on for a long time. And so you're like, yeah, sure. Oliver called him. 5 minutes later, he calls back, hey, I'm in for the event. And so Sean Pendergast and I at the time interviewed all the coaches, except for Saban because he was too good for us. But either way, Harbaugh comes over to the table, and we, of course, have our headphones on, so we're listening back to studio, kind of like on one ear. He doesn't know, and we hear okay, 30 seconds. And look over, and Harbaugh reaches, and I have a father who has dipped his entire life. Skull, Copenhagen, his entire life. So I know what it looks like. And so I see him reach in his back pocket. He taps the top of the can and takes the biggest dip out that you've ever seen in your entire life and sticks it in his lip literally 30 seconds before we're about to interview him. Sean doesn't see it. I see the whole thing, and I'm like, oh God, what's going to happen? Sean introduces him. Coach, it's great to see you. How you doing? And he literally picks up the Diet Coke can in front of him, huge spit into it, and then gets on the mic with tobacco juice all over his mouth. He's like, I'm doing okay, Sean. How are you doing? I about died because I looked at Diet Coke can. I was like, yeah, my mom took a drink out of those Diet Coke cans inadvertently for years. So I wanted to make sure I didn't do it. But it was kind of, kind of back and forth. He didn't give his kind of short answer to us. And then all of a sudden, we hit on something that he liked talking about. And the next 15 minutes of the interview were some of the best interview moments I've ever had. So I would say Jim Harbaugh, as weird as that might sound, was one of my favorite to interview, just because it took us a little while to crack the nut, if you will. But once we did, we had a great interview with him.
I believe you've also interviewed somebody that I have, Dabo. I thought Dabo was always fantastic to deal with. Did you have any encounters with Dabo? I feel like you have.
We had him for one Bear Bryant Awards, and so this is when the Texans were like Clemson Southwest, and we had Reeder, Hop, Carlos Watkins. I can't remember. We had like 5 or 6 Clemson guys. David, I asked him 3 questions, and he went for 30 minutes. And it was kind of amazing. I think, like every college football coach out there, I think Dabo is FOS, just like, all of us are to a degree. But from an interview standpoint, he's gold. I mean, he is forthright. He's honest. And, you can't ask for much more than that. And he's just really fun because, as an interviewer, you're always thinking about what's the next question. When you have coaches that kind of, give you the short answer. Like Cliff Kingsbury will give you like a 5-second answer, and you're like, God, I got to have 30 questions just to interview this guy. Dabo, you need like one question, like, Coach, your win against Louisville last week, go. He'll go for 15 minutes, and eventually he'll end at some point where he'll be talking about Vladimir Putin and Russia and the Ukraine, and you're like, wait, how did we get there? But we did, and so he's kind of funny to interview in that regard. And I always like coaches that you can just lob it up to him and like, all right, Coach, take it from here. And so we're fortunate, I know, in Houston, for me, because we interview Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans every week, and you can kind of throw anything at them, and they love it, they handle it. And they're really good about it. And they know how to speak kind of NFLese, they kind of dance around it. Hey, Nick, what's the status of Joe Mixon? And he'll give you 5 minutes. And at the end of it, you'll be like, wait, did I find anything out? Do I know anything more about Joe Mixon? No, probably not. But that's kind of the magic of kind of being in front of the mic in the NFL from that standpoint. I would love to interview Dan Campbell. I think that would be freaking awesome. I mean, I think there would be stuff that we would be able to get. And of course, the connection to Billy Lucci and oh, by the way, Billy, thanks for taking my spot last week, man, to talk up and hype up, the number 2 and 3 teams in the country, Indiana A&M. And then at halftime it was 30-3, but that's a different story. We'll get to that later. But I think Dan Campbell would be a really good to great interview if you could just sit down with him and tap into everything he's done, be recruited to A&M, going to A&M, the room he was, his roommates. I've talked to Leckler about that over the years. So I think that would be a really fun interview too.
Johnny, we got to get to football, but I'm feeling nostalgic. I'm just going to bring up a couple names that you'll probably know. I loved talking to Whitney Merciless, Owen Daniels on the Texans. I would say that Correa was great, but we've gotten to cover some really good guys. The 2 times I've interviewed Johnny Mansell, he was fantastic. I don't know if you ever interviewed Johnny, but he was a really good interview when I interviewed him back. I guess it was the 2013 season, I guess it would be.
Yeah, I would love to interview Johnny. I mean, I just, Johnny's one of my favorite players of all time. And I just always remember my favorite Mansell story I always love to tell is in 2010, we had gone to Oklahoma A&M, and Johnny was there on a visit.
Yep.
I don't know if it was official or unofficial, but he was there on a visit. And so I was standing there on the track, and we're kind of looking at all the, letter jackets and stuff. And at some point, Billy, I'm with Billy, and Billy points and goes, that guy. And he points at, I'm like, Manziel? And he goes, that guy is going to be the future. I'm like, Billy, he's short, he's tiny. Well, really? He goes, I'm telling you. And I swear, right after Billy told me that, it was amazing to watch, even then, players kind of gravitate towards him. And he always had a smile. And I just remembered that. It stood out to me. Like, here's this guy who, these other, recruits are towering over him. And yet he's the guy they want to talk to. Like, he's the guy they want to be around. And I know it's a quarterback. I get all that. But I thought it was really interesting. And so when it clicks for him in 2012, I just remembered that from a couple of years prior. Like, yeah, I should have known that was going to be the case, because watch them play not only for him, but with him. There's something there, and obviously he just had a magic. So, Johnny would definitely be one on my list that I would love to interview. I think when it comes to Texans over the years, we've always had a good, Whitney Merciless was fantastic. We never got to interview JJ a ton, but it was enough that he was comfortable with us, that he could let his guard down, and we could have some fun with him. So he was always really, really good. People always ask, is he good? Yeah, he's a good interview. He's kind of soft spoken, off the mic, but once you get him on and you kind of get him going with some things, and he always liked to push back a little bit on some things. So it was always kind of fun to interview him. But over the years, with the Texans, there have been some great ones to interview, but those are 2 that probably stand out. I always liked Kareem Jackson.
Yeah,
Kareem was always funny, and he could always kind of poke back a little bit. He always had kind of a quick quip, if you will. And then he was good on the mic. We used to give him the mic and send him in the locker room and say, "Hey, Kareem, just go, and we'll film it." And we called it KJack TV, and it was one of the hottest things that we've done in the 12 years I've been with the Texans. I mean, people loved it, but he was so good, kind of razzing his teammates, and then kind of giving it to them. They give it back to him, and he was really good. So yeah, there have been a few over the years. There have also been a few that have gone the other way as well. That shall remain nameless, but coach at Boston College right now.
Hey, so you alluded to it earlier. The 30-3. What are you thinking at 30-3? Maybe not in that game in particular, but just overall about A&M. And then maybe what did you think about A&M overall after they made the comeback?
Well, what's the one thing I've been saying, David, this entire time? A&M has different ways to win. And the one way that they had not, at that point, been faced with having to win was coming back. I didn't think they were going to have to come back. I think I'm trying to remember the Notre Dame game. I mean, they may have been behind in that game, but it was never like they were out of it. I can't remember what exactly it was, but this game, they're out of it. I mean, everything has gone wrong. That could potentially go wrong. Nick Harbor is fighting with DPS troopers in the alleyway or whatever in the tunnel. And I'm like, man, this is just, it's all gone wrong. But I always feel like if you come out, say it's a halftime lead like that, if you come out in the first series of the second half and you go score and just boom, score right away, you've got a chance. That just gives you some momentum. Maybe things start. Maybe you snap everybody to at that point. And look, I was 1 week away from having watched the Texans come back from 19 down in the fourth quarter, and so you kind of see the sense of urgency. But you see how the defense reacted once the offense scored. It was like the defense said, oh, okay, the offense decided to wake it up. I guess we better do the same. And that happened in our game against Jacksonville. After we scored to make it 29-18 in our game against Jacksonville, the defense put up 3 3-and-outs and gave up 1 yard for the rest of the game. And I think it was that way with A&M. You could just see this kind of sense of urgency overcome them. Like, all right, it's time to go. The offense decided to wake up, so we gotta answer as well. And now all of a sudden, you've got complementary football happening. Now the defense is getting stops. Now they're putting pressure on Sellers. Now they're getting off the field. They're getting the ball back to Marcel. And then it comes down to, as D'Amico tells me this every week. He goes, look, the NFL is all about stars and playmakers making big plays. The old Santana Moss thing. Big time players make big time plays in big time games. Well, that game going in wasn't a big time game, or at least wasn't supposed to be. But it turned into it when you get down 30-3. And then Marcel started making the big time plays. I mean, that fourth down scramble, that's what really kind of kept it alive. And then he started diamond throws all over the place. And this is where there's a part of me that looks over at South Carolina and is like, what are you doing? How the hell does Bethel Roman get deep on you? How does Williams get deep on you? How are these guys getting deep on you multiple times when you have a 30-3 lead? So there's a part of it that you kind of point at South Carolina and go, hey, Shane Beamer, you're dancing into the locker room, bro. Maybe you should have been coaching him up to make sure that you didn't give up a 30-3 lead. And I like Shane Beamer. But the whole, hey, we beat this team by 24 last year. Give us respect. No, I'll give you respect if you don't blow a 30-3 lead, bro. But you did.
Did we lose, Johnny?
But he did. And for that reason, Shane Beamer has got to be, I mean, just the look he had on his face after the game, you're dumbfounded when you give a 27-point lead. But it's the final piece in a sense of what I've said all year. A&M has found different ways to win. And this was one, you get down 27. Oh, okay. I'm not saying you're getting down 27 when you're in Austin. You certainly better not be down 27 this weekend. But you might be down in the second half at Austin. You're like, hey, remember what we did a couple weeks ago? Let's just snap back into rhythm, and we'll end up being okay as we take on a team in Texas that really is not as good as us. So I think that's what comes out of this game is that, hey, there's belief that you can do it. And I think there's belief that they could do it the whole time. They just couldn't get out of their own way. And all of a sudden things snowball. Things happen like that in football games. We know that. But I think that game will now be that catapult because Texas, SEC championship game, first round playoff game or second round playoff game, whatever it might be, those are going to be obviously big time situations. You're going to be down. How do you respond? Well, we found out how this team was going to respond last Saturday. So hopefully they continue to respond, not get down 30-3, but they're going to be able to respond if they fall into some kind of hole in a game against even better opponents.
Johnny, let me close out with this because there's a lot of folks that are saying, see what happened against South Carolina. That's who A&M really is, a team that can't beat a really good team. Yeah, they beat Notre Dame early on, but that was early. The teams have evolved since then, yada, yada, yada. So does what happened against South Carolina in the first half give you pause about A&M, or are you one of those, I look at the totality of the season and of the moment?
Yeah, I mean, look, they went to Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's a damn good football team. Like, I don't know what people want. Like, Georgia, Alabama, they weren't on the schedule this year. They're not. I mean, so what are you going to do? I mean, I just don't know how you can kind of live life going, well, they're not that good just because they haven't played. Well, yeah, the schedule didn't allow them to. You know, it's kind of like the same thing with Indiana. And I know people won't like hearing me say this at, College Station, but it's like with Indiana. Indiana's playing teams that had their schedule, and they put these teams on the schedule years ago. So what are you going to do? The one team they had to beat, they went on the road and beat them by 10 points and beat Oregon the hell up. So, like, you got to beat the teams that you have in front of you. And at some point, you're going to match up with a team that's equal talent or close to equal talent. And then it becomes your coaching staff, your camaraderie, who's injured, who's not, all the different things that go into winning a football game. They just get heightened a little bit. But A&M can go toe-to-toe with any team in the country. And when they get to the SEC championship game, I think they're going to show that. Now, I do think the Texas game is going to be one that people point to and say, even if A&M wins it, Texas at best is going to be 8-4. Well, no, Texas isn't what Texas was. I don't give a damn. You win a rivalry game on the road to end the season, regular season undefeated, to go to the SEC championship. You're legit in my mind. But all this bluster about, well, they haven't played this team, haven't played that team. Like, I don't know. You can lose me with that. I look at how teams execute. I look at how teams play. I would look at how teams win games. And that's what I saw you about A&M. They have found different ways to win games this year. And to me, that makes a team great. If you can, well, we're going to run this week and dominate the run and win. We're going to have to throw in this game and win. We're going to have to come from behind and win. We're going to have to win a defensive struggle and win. When you do all that, to me, you're a good team. I don't care who you've played, especially you play in a conference like the SEC. Now, if you play in CUSA, no down talk on CUSA, but you go undefeated in CUSA, okay, that's a little different. But if you go undefeated, having gone through the SEC, I don't care who you played. You're a good football team. You're a great football team. And you should have one of the top 2, top 3 rankings in the nation like they have right now.
Johnny, as always, great stuff, my brother. Thanks so much.
Yeah, man. See you, David. Good luck this weekend against Samford.
Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon. John Harris there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with Max Wright. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you're looking for a selection that won't break the bank, start your search at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. They have a selection that is growing. Their inventory is growing daily, and they're really south of those big city prices, no dealer add-ons. What you see is what you pay, and they are locally owned by Aggie alumni, and they're going to roll out the red carpet for you to make sure that you have the best experience when you're purchasing a vehicle. So if we're talking about getting a brand new Tahoe or whatever it may be, let Caldwell Country Chevrolet walk you through the process, get you the great selection and also the great trade-in value. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive. The edge of Bryant to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. All right, the right stuff here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Max Wright joining us here to chit-chat, the former Texas A&M tight end. What's up, bud?
Morning. How are you, sir?
Hey, man, I appreciate you fighting the good fight online. I see you going after people. I saw that. Let's see if I can have the tweet in front of me. I don't have it in front of me, but I have what you responded to about A&M not having anything elite. Just kind of give our audience what your perspective of the way people are poking holes in A&M.
Yeah. So it's funny you bring it up. It's like my first time I think I've gone to bat pretty hard for the Aggies online. I'm definitely becoming more of an Aggie fan, so it'll probably be happening more in the future. But yeah, I think it was Brandon Walker with Barstool who's been on a rant the past few days. It almost feels like he's rage baiting Aggies to buy into this nonsense. His comment was that there's nothing elite about the Aggies, and I was like, all right, come on, man. Like that, I get that the first half was a terrible first half, and the team will tell you that. And I think everyone who watched that game can easily tell that was the worst half of football that the Aggies have played this season. But you can't discredit the dominance that came after that. When the team turned it on, I mean, to be able to come out like that when all the momentum is out of your side of the game. I mean, to do what they did, like you can't just completely be like, oh, the first half. It doesn't matter what they did after that. No, that's ridiculous. I was extremely impressed with how the Aggies responded. Man, I was at that game. I could feel the environment and how it shifted coming into that third quarter. And I got to watch a lot of guys on the field who I would say are definitely elite. So yeah, I'm ready to fight the good fight online, man. I'm going to start probably doing it a little bit more because I can't just sit back and watch guys talk about the game like that who don't know what they're talking about, genuinely.
Well, I mean, let's kind of talk about what A&M is elite at, and I think there are multiple areas. Like, we're in a different world of college football that, to me, not one team in the world looks flawless like the old Georgia teams and the old Alabama teams. These teams are really good. They can win games. They can win a national championship. But, I don't look at Ohio State and say, oh, my gosh, they are unstoppable. I don't look at Indiana that way. They have games that they look that way, but they all seem vulnerable. A&M, though, elite offensive line. I would say elite quarterback play. There's a reason he is a Heisman finalist at this moment in my eyes. I would say elite wide receivers. I would say elite ability to get after the quarterback defensively. I would say elite at owning the second half adjustments. I would say elite at being great in the fourth quarter of tiring your opponent. So, am I right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think even it's funny. Nothing elite about him. It's a ridiculous comment. I mean, Casey Concepcion, Ashton Bethel-Roman, ABR, and man, look, you talk about depth. Isaiah Williams coming in and stepping in and playing as big of a factor in that game as he did. I mean, that guy's first game this year comes in and makes the momentum swinging touchdown catch in the third quarter. I mean, that's huge. I mean, depth that they have is a big factor in this. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There's so many layers to this team that makes them great. I think the biggest part of it, though, is ultimately the depth that they have and the culture that they have. And 99% of teams you get put in that situation are going to crumble. I can say that with almost 100% certainty. I've been a part of teams that went down at half and just don't come back. There's this looming feeling that you're not going to be able to come back, and that ultimately is baked into the culture that you create on your teams. And Elko has removed that. We talked about battered Aggie syndrome and talk about this looming presence and feeling that eventually we're going to crumble and it's going to fall. Thankfully, I haven't been a part of all of that in my lifetime. I played on the team, so I didn't feel it from a fan perspective like y'all have. I'm sorry for giving y'all that feeling. Sometimes I know that's frustrating, but I think that this is the change that we've needed to have brought into the program. Is you've needed to have a coach come in and wipe out this nonsense of, man, we're always going to clip ourselves whenever it comes to the end part of the season. It's like, no, that's not who we are. That's not what this team is. This team has shown you time and time again, if you punch them in the mouth, they're going to fight back harder. And that, to me, is a team that's mature, that's disciplined, that's willing to go toe-to-toe with anybody and isn't going to back down to any odds. I mean, that, to me, feels like an elite characteristic in itself. National championship teams, if you go back and look at their seasons, there's always one or two games where it's like, man, they didn't play their best football, but they found a way to win. And that's what this game was, I think, for the Aggies. I think this was their gut check. This is where in previous seasons we would have teams who would falter and lose that game by 2 scores, and then everyone questioned if they're a legit contender. I mean, it happens every single year, and it's a testament to what Elko's done, what the culture that he's created, and I'm really excited for the future of Aggie football, because if this is just the beginning of his foundation for what he's trying to build, then I think there's no height that this team and this program can't reach.
Talking to Max Wright here on TexAgs Live. Speaking of elite, they have an elite head coach. I'm going to go. He's probably going to be your coach of the year, right? So there's that. I wanted to ask you from a player's perspective. You know, A&M this year has, for the most part, has had the afternoon or the night game. So the 11 a.m. game, which at my, when I was in college, that seemed to be a little bit more normal. But what the guys who have come in for these interviews on the huddle have said is like, yeah, you know what? It was different. Like, we weren't completely awake yet. So kind of take me through that from a player's perspective. Like, it's football. Yeah, you're still following the routine, but sometimes it takes a couple of these to kind of really know what it feels like to be ready for an 11 a.m. game. And I'm not trying to give them a pass for it. I'm just saying that's the reality of the situation.
No, absolutely. Yeah. 11 a.m. games are weird. They're if you don't have experience in playing them, they're hard to get out the gate early on. I know that for one of the seasons that I played, I think we had like 5 or 6 11 a.m. games. And that ultimately, they got easier as it went on. But for people who don't know, your wake up time for those games is super early. You're waking up at 5 or 6 a.m. so that you can get up and get, the fuel that you need for that game in with enough time before, so that you're not feeling like you're playing on a full stomach. So it's a long morning. It's weird because you're tired, obviously, because anytime you wake up at 5 or 6 a.m., you're not going to feel, all right, man, I'm ready to go, And the Aggies haven't had to do that a lot this season because they've been playing a lot of primetime games. And for me, when I saw all the kind of factors at play here, I was a little bit nervous for this game because it did feel kind of like a trap game more than others. 11 a.m. game against a team that's coming off a bye, against a teams that I believe had their offensive coordinator who got fired, and they may be throwing in some new things on the offense that they've been scheming for 2 weeks. They've been looking at your team, and a team that's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, Shane Beamer and that team have nothing to lose. And so when you look at all those things that play into 11 a.m. games, they're sneaky and they sneak up on you. And it's a hard game to come out on the first drive and feel like you're in your mode. It's just different than a 6:30 primetime game. You come out, the lights are already on. You feel the energy, and it's everybody's ready to play smash mouth football. I was a little worried when they came out slow. I was concerned that was going to be a characteristic of watching them play the rest of the game. But thankfully, when they went at halftime, I think they turned it on. And I don't think that they had to say a ton of things. I think they just had to say, hey, we're not playing our football, but we've got to turn it around. And I think it's as simple as that. And that's what Elko talked about, too, in his interview. And that ultimately ties back to culture. Hey, we're playing bad football right now. We've got to wake up. And they did. And ultimately, it paid off. So,
Max, last thing for you. So you've been involved in these late season non-conference games. One in particular that I remember was, the UMass game where I think the weather was bad, 22. I think it was like 10-3 at the half, and then you ended up winning 20-3. But it was not your best look, although the next week you beat LSU. So just talk about, and LSU, by the way, was going to the SEC championship game. They had the playoffs in mind, so it was a huge win for A&M. Talk about this game mindset-wise, knowing that there's something bigger afterwards. Did we lose?
Let them do that.
There you are. You're back.
Can you hear me? Sorry. You can't look past teams. That's what I was saying. No matter who you have on your schedule that week. I mean, you're playing college football. You're playing against guys who ultimately can play football well. While they may not have as much high-powered talent. I mean, you're playing against a team where this is theoretically their Super Bowl. So you got to be out there on your A game because you're going to play against a very motivated team. So yeah, I mean, I was a part of the team that lost to App State, who came in and beat us at home, and was a part of the team that struggled against UMass. So I know that if you come out expecting this to be some sort of a lollipop game and you totally look past it for this Texas game in 2 weeks, it'll come back and bite you. So, I mean, I feel very confident that this team's going to come out and win handily and, get some guys some reps that'll be great. Looking forward to the rest of the season. And hopefully it's a week also for, we've obviously had some guys banged up for us to get healthy and, get ready to finish out this season strong. But I'm excited to see what they do this week, and then obviously in 2 weeks for the big one in Austin. It's gonna be really fun.
Max, great stuff, man. I appreciate your time, buddy.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Gig 'em.
Gig 'em. Max Wright here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break. Jamie Morrison, talk about another team in control of their future. We're going to talk to Jamie Morrison on the other side. Right now, we're talking about Heritage Films. Let's do a documentary on somebody. I don't know. Let's pick somebody. Sid, who should we do a documentary on? Like, you got a dad, right?
Yeah, I do.
Do you know his whole story?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah?
Love my dad.
You know his story. Like, you know what street he grew up on?
I know he's from Amarillo. I
Do
don't
you know
what street.
What elementary school he went to?
I don't. I would love to know, though.
Okay. Do you know, I don't know, like maybe his first sports like accomplishment that like really changed his life? First home run, little things like that.
I don't.
Maybe how he met your mom.
I do know that one.
Okay. Do you think you're going to be able to retell that story great to your kids, and then they'll be able to retell that story later to their grandkids?
I don't think so.
See how I pulled you into a spot?
Yes.
Yeah, this is what I do. It's because I'm lazy. No, that's what Heritage Films does. They tell a documentary about families, right? So Sid, or Sydney, I should say, let's say she knows her dad's story, but she can't really retell it the way it should be done for the next generation. You're playing the game of telephone, and then that future generation, like, yeah, I think my grandfather was a firefighter, and that's not even the story, right? So was he a firefighter?
He was not.
Okay, just making sure. Bottom line is get a Heritage Film done, a 2-hour documentary done about your family, and let the future generations enjoy your family story and hearing it from the source. YourHeritageFilm.com, YourHeritageFilm.com, 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. All right, we are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Texas A&M volleyball finishing their best regular season in 41 years, 22-3, in second place in the SEC, and now they head to postseason play. That begins this weekend for them. Jamie Morrison's in studio. Hello, sir.
Hello. Yeah, we're officially in the postseason.
In the postseason, which hopefully is the middle part of your season, right? Because you've got a lot more still ahead.
Yeah, and I was just talking to our team yesterday just about like you kind of turn a chapter into something. And I remember talking to Russ Rose, who's one of the most famous coaches in our game, like won 5 total national championships, 3 in a row at one point. And I remember talking to him about how he thought his team was going to be. He's like, I can't wait for the postseason. I'm like, you have a long way. He's like, when you have the team, you can't wait to see like how far you can push in that. And I think we're there right now. I think we have a really good volleyball team. I think the puzzle pieces are clicking into place at the right time. We're playing some of our best volleyball this season, and I'm excited to see what happens.
I think a veteran team like yours, you don't have to remind them, but the finality of where you are, right? Like you want it to keep going, but like it could end early in the SEC championship. It can end early in the NCAA tournament. Like you have to be at your best no matter what.
Yeah, I think you want to create a sense of urgency. Mm-hmm. Like you want, hey, like every single day we're preparing to make sure we extend our season. So like the practice is this week. That's what it's about. It's about preparing to extend that. But when you get there, you want to play like you got nothing to lose. And we talk a lot about kind of being who you are in those moments, and that's the most you need to do. And in those moments, they usually drag you away from who it is that you want to be. So I think it's really that. It's like really clearly identifying, hey, this is the volleyball team we're going to be going forward. This is how we're going to act as competitors. This is how we're going to act as practice and be consistent with that no matter who we're playing in the situation.
Remind me, what's the turnaround? So you go as far as you can in the SEC tournament. How quickly are you playing then in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's December 5th and 6th, I think.
A little time.
Yeah, most likely we're hosting, so I'm just going to prep people for that one. I'm trying to put together something if we can do some viewing thing or something like that for the SEC football championship. But we'll play that Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Most likely here at home. So as people are marking their calendars, it's obviously not locked in stone yet. There's a selection show that happens next Sunday. And that'll determine kind of what goes on in there. And I think we got an outside shot at maybe hosting the first, second, and then the third, fourth round as well. But we'll find out on that Sunday.
Well, and then also, like I'm looking back at your non-conference of how you scheduled, right?
Yep.
And the type of teams you played and the frequency of some of those games too to prepare you for a tournament setting, correct?
Yeah. No, 100%. And to try to put us in a spot where we did a higher RPI coming into the season, but a couple of those didn't work out, unfortunately. Yeah, we tried to push ourselves by going on the road and playing 2 tough teams and put ourselves in some uncomfortable situations. And we just talked about the SEC tournament. Like the way the second day is going to work is we'll play 30 minutes after the previous match. So that could be an hour and a half swing, but we had experience from that of going to first serve and doing that after Kansas played Penn State, if I remember correctly, and that match went 5, and it was warm up, cool down, go play. So I think we put ourselves in a lot of situations that have been uncomfortable to the point where we're comfortable in what we're going to see, whether it be the SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament.
How important is the SEC tournament to you, knowing that it is a goal, but there's also a bigger goal? Or do you just tackle everything the same way?
It's balanced. I mean, all of the, yes, I keep answering questions this week with that. Like, it's important, but it's within balance of like the tournament after is also very important. And for me, like, I think Sam told me we were the first team since 2003 to finish conference with 1 loss and not have a share of the SEC title. And just for the last, 10 days, I've had the 4th set against Kentucky replaying in my head, and I want another shot at that. Because I think we're good enough to push that team, and they're a really, really good volleyball team. But like, I'm excited about the opportunity for that, but I don't want to do that at the expense of us being bad the following week. So I think it's a little bit of and I think probably all coaches are looking at this like, hey, we want to win this. It's important. You want to say that you're champion. And also for us, I think if we were to win 3, and if we were to go through this and play whoever it is in the quarterfinal, if Texas makes that semifinal and Kentucky makes that final, and we go through that route, we have a chance of being a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. So there's also some implications for seeding down the stretch. But again, you don't want to do that at the cost of the physical health of our athletes down the long stretch.
How do you prep for, like, you have an idea who you could play, right? But you're not going to know until Saturday night, right? Or is it Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday night. So you won't know, but you got 3 possible teams that it could be. And then you look at what potentially could be ahead. How do you kind of scout? You already know these teams, but how do you prepare?
Yeah, we literally, like right after our match against Georgia, Joe, our director of analytics, and I sat down and kind of talked about, all right, here's the game plan. And it was, get as much, I don't know, recent tape on the teams we haven't played recently. So I'm trying to think, for example, like we were talking about, like in our little half the bracket, we got Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. We played them pretty. Vanderbilt was our first match maybe.
Yeah.
So like we don't have any recent tape on them. So it's like, hey, we need to download some recent tape on them just in case they are the ones that come through and clean that up. So it's that, but I literally just going to go to my experience of being in the Olympics. Or being in a national team gym, you play 5 matches in 5 nights. You got to prepare for each of those that night. So the way I usually go about that is I usually go to bed around 8:30 or 9, and I wake up around 4 or 5, and like I'm putting together a scouting report in the morning over 2 or 3 hours. And you go to Surf Pass and work on something specific for that team, and then you go. And I think the other thing that we've been preparing for all year is, one, we've played them all.
Right.
So we can go back to, hey, the last time we played this, we did this. But it's also like, I'm a big believer that, I don't know, all of these things fit into like common patterns. So it might be like, hey, at the beginning of the season when we played TCU is, hey, remember the way we played Arizona State last year? Like there's that building block and that puzzle piece that we can pull back in. And I think that's what this becomes. We have all these experiences playing against these different teams in different ways. And if I shift something and say, we're going to do this the way we played Tennessee, and you can kind of pull that in as we go. So I think it's a mixture of everything. But right now it's just work on us. Really kind of identify, hey, here's our strengths. Let's build those up even more. Here's a couple little areas that we can get better at over the last, 4 matches. I looked at that. And that's really what we're working on this week.
Can you kind of explain to the audience how good the SEC is? And they've heard that before, but like you were telling me right before we started how good Vanderbilt is, and they're the 15th seed.
No, 15th seed.
Like, but they can legit beat anyone.
Yeah, no, you were asking like, hey, who do you think we're going to play? And like, obviously Georgia's the higher seed in there, and Vanderbilt and Mississippi State play into that. But like the 15 seed, I could see working their way out and playing us in the quarterfinal. And I think they're a really good volleyball team. They're dangerous. They're well coached. They can play the game, and the building blocks that go into it at a high level. So it could be like they get hot, and all of a sudden we're playing them. But like it's deep. I think if you were to look at, I don't know, us, Kentucky, Texas, like we're all in the top 10, all in the top 6. So I think we're probably the only conference in the country that has that. So I think just it's deep, it's hard, it's really, I don't know, it's really difficult to go through. And the fact that we came through at 14-1, I gave our team a lot of props after that Georgia match. Like that took a lot of focus, that took a lot of good volleyball, that took a lot of grit, that took a lot of fight. And I'm pretty proud of the fact that we are where we are, but we're not done yet.
I know you well enough that you won't give me a coach answer. Like sometimes coaches give coach answers, and I get it because you're in the moment. But how proud are you of this team? Are you right now, understanding there's a lot more you still want to accomplish?
Yeah, it's not just, it's team staff, like our marketing team. Like, there's so many things I'm proud of right now. Like we had over 5,500 people come to our Georgia match, and I remember thinking beforehand, this is going to be a true test of how much people have fallen in love with this team and volleyball. And I get chills a lot. My team makes fun of me, but I get chills thinking of it. Like there's a lot of people that are showing up. The 12th man's been amazing throughout the season of like really supporting this team, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the volleyball we're playing right now. I'm proud of, I think we're peaking physically, so hats off to our athletic training staff, to our strength and conditioning staff, our sports science staff, of making sure that we're great there, and I think we're playing great volleyball right now. So I think, again, when I say all these puzzle pieces are clicking into place, like we're a dangerous volleyball team right now, and I'm proud of that and excited about what's coming. But everyone keeps saying, hey, congrats on a great season, and my response around town has constantly been like, we're not done yet. This is when we go to work.
Jamie, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you, and good luck. We'll be watching. Right now, we're talking about Paragon Financial. When it comes to your money and your peace of mind, it starts with the right team, and that is Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors, an independent fiduciary serving clients across Texas with no commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you with 18 professionals, including 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA, and the expertise runs deep at Paragon because credentials matter, and so does your future. Visit paragon-adv.com or call them up, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors.
We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Kaylee Dreyer, Around Aggieland. And you've been mousing around recently. What's going on with you?
Oh, not much. I was just here last night and saw a special guest.
Yeah? Billy came by late?
No, it was bad. It was bad.
Well, we won't air our grievances on air. It's not Festivus just yet. What do you have for us?
Yeah, so Texas A&M women's basketball stays undefeated as they went on the road and took down Kansas State. This made their first true road win since February of 2024 when they took down Kentucky. Nicera Pryor led the team with 24 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds, and the girls will now travel to Hawaii to play 3 games at the North Shore Showcase this weekend. And moving on to volleyball, we just heard from Coach Morrison, but they concluded their regular season with their best record since 1984 with a 22-3 record after sweeping Georgia this past weekend. They're the second seed in the SEC tournament behind Kentucky and will play this Sunday, November 23rd, in the quarterfinals round. And also be on the lookout for SEC Player of the Year awards being announced tonight. And then last thing I have, Texas A&M men's basketball team recorded a victory last night against Montana with a score of 86-81. The Aggies held off the Grizzlies late by pushing 9 of 10 free throws from the line in the last 20 seconds of the game. Rylan Griffin had a season-high 17 points, and Rashawn Aggie registered his first double-double of the season with 10 points and 10 rebounds.
Ms. Dreyer, thank you very much. Great job.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you. All right, we're going to hit a break. When we come back, Ryan Brauninger. Talk a little recruiting country. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's in a little bit less than an hour at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 3 of the program is time for Recruiting Country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank, the only privately owned bank headquartered in Bryan-College Station. They're committed to helping our community prosper by offering you a wide variety and an array of personal and business banking solutions specifically designed to help build financial success with confidence and momentum on your side. Ryan Brauninger, hello, sir.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you? You know, was that your phone that went off as soon as the segment started?
It was my watch.
So loud. That's an enormous watch. I've never noticed that.
Yes, this is called the Garmin Tactical. It's got a little light. Yeah, a little light. Boom.
Heck yeah,
and
brother.
In the middle of the night. Yeah, you want to find.
So in the middle of the night. So you wear that to bed?
I wear it every night. Yeah, but I have it on snooze, or do not disturb, so I don't get.
You're laying in bed with that giant watch on your
I don't
wrist.
think it's that big. You know, I think it's fine.
The people that are watching this on YouTube and on the site can read that watch from there.
Okay. What time does it say, Nick? Let's see how smart this is.
It says
what time?
10:01.
Oh, well, that's obvious because you can just look at your own watch. All right.
You can't see my watch. It's a normal size watch.
I think our side. Okay. Sid, they look about the same from far away, right?
Not even close.
That
looks like
just a little bigger.
That
Not
looks
that
like
much.
Big Ben. It looks like you're compensating for something.
My big ego?
Or maybe bicep size.
I mean, I don't even know where I want to go with this. Let's just move on, shall we? Let's tap dance our way from this. I think this watch does everything I need it to do. It's, ballistics. It's got
ballistics.
Yeah,
it tells you how fast the bullet's going.
Yeah, it's got it all. I'll tell you some of the options if you want. Solar intensity, weather. Thank you. Sunset. Last sport.
Have you seen the movie?
Yes.
Major Payne.
Yeah, with Damon Wayans. Yeah.
Great 90s comedy movie. There was a former professional wrestler that made a cameo in that movie.
I don't remember who.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, Bam Bam, yeah.
He comes in, and the short version is the cadets at the military school that Major Payne is working at pay this hitman to come in off the street to try to beat him up. I think that's a tactic that we're going to take with you one day.
You're going to have somebody come try to beat me up?
Me, Billy, Nick, Richie, we're all going to chip in. We're going to have somebody that just kind of, maybe as you're walking to Kyle, we set him up between here and Kyle Field and for an altercation. And we film it and we see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. There's just a couple things I'm going to say about this, okay? Because there's always a response. I am actually compensating for a lack of ability by going to all my classes. So that's a fact. I've never said I was good at anything.
Okay, but you're compensating for that size of that watch is what you're doing. That's what the compensation
This watch,
is.
I'm sorry, in fact, our YouTube page is blowing up with people who are huge Garmin people. See, us in the fitness and endurance community.
It's another community that you're involved in.
I go to the meetings. This morning when I, by the time I
You're
finished.
a chameleon, man. You're in so many different communities.
Country music community?
No, you're not. The hunting and fishing community now recently.
Yeah, I'm in that. I am also in the Latino music community.
Well, it seems like your Cuban communities keeps falling further and further down the road.
No, that's my number one thing.
Okay.
We're going to have a Cuban Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah.
What are some of the dishes that come with a Cuban
We're
Thanksgiving?
always going to have arroz y frijoles, a little moros. We're going to have some yuca. We're going to have a little mojito sauce to put over the turkey, el pavo, as we say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just got a little Cuban flair to it.
They don't do. I'm ignorant to Cuban food, so bear with me here. Plantains.
Oh, we love plantains.
Okay.
Big plantain
Arroz con habichuela.
Not as much, but yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Okay, that's more like a Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, this is very similar. Diets,
Similar
yeah.
fare. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they the one that does the tres golpes breakfast? Where it's like eggs. I think that's the Dominican, but it's like a very traditional Dominican breakfast. I didn't know if y'all had something similar in Cuba.
No, we do have café con leche, un pancito ahí, a little dippy dip. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, and that's all going to happen on Thanksgiving. So you're going to have coffee with turkey on Thanksgiving.
No. We'll do that in the morning. That's part of our morning.
That's
routine.
like a coffee with turkey is like whenever, these people that drink Red Bull vodkas.
Mm-hmm.
So the Red Bull amps you up and the vodka is a downer.
Yeah.
So if you have, coffee with turkey, the tryptophan brings you down.
Yeah, it's going to be a combination of the things. Yeah.
That's the David Nuño. What do they call that? Is it crossfaded, Sid? I'm not hip on these terms.
Hey, by the way,
that's not crossfaded.
No.
That's not crossfaded. What's the term whenever you drink a bunch of vodka Red Bulls?
I'm not in that community.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, in fact, I've never been to that community. Well, maybe in college.
Hammered.
It's called getting hammered?
It's hammered. Yeah, that's the term.
Hammer is the term, according to Nick.
Nick doesn't know either.
By the way, as we move on to recruiting, I do want to say Thanksgiving morning, if you want, by 8 a.m., we could have already had 2 workouts if you would like to join me. I've already written that on my calendar.
I think I'm going to do, last year I did a 24-hour pre-Thanksgiving fast and a 24-hour post-Thanksgiving fast, and I enjoyed it.
Okay.
So I think that's my plan. We'll work out through the weekend so that I can have a missed day next week.
Oh, you take days off?
Yeah, I think that's smart to do.
Yeah, no. I stay ready.
Are you on steroids?
I saw somebody wrote that. No, I'm small. I'm not even a big dude.
Yeah, but you don't have to be, like, you can be on those cutting steroids because you're acting like, you go to jiu-jitsu. I haven't seen you at the gym much lately, but I'm not saying you ain't going.
I go to the one here on Texas.
We could be going at different times.
Yep.
But you're talking about how you don't take any days off. I didn't know if you were on any of these new drugs. No. Dr. Mike has been talking about, have you seen this new drug that's coming out?
No, I don't think
it's drugs. Like the premier. There's like no side effects. It's Ozempic, but steroids, and it's a pill.
I don't do that. So if you need proof, I have every workout since 2004 at some point.
That's not normal behavior.
So this is just the last couple days right here. If you can.
Can you send all that to Billy?
No, because he's already made fun of me. And this is the strength training log. I also have my endurance training log, and I have my jiu-jitsu log. So there's 3 different logs. And there's my book log of how many books I've read this year. Yeah, I've got issues. We're 7 minutes in.
I didn't do all this. You're the host of this show.
You do this thing where you rattle the cage a little bit, and you're going to get a response.
You're the
Brandon Walker about A&M.
No, time out. I ain't doing the Brandon Walker thing. That guy's gone out of his way to try to poo-poo on A&M this year. And I like Brandon Walker, and I know him and Billy are tight, but I just thought the stuff that he's like trying to drag A&M through the mud after Saturday when everybody else in the college football, I can't tell if he's trying to play the heel a little bit, like part of a bit. And
I think people do like to do that.
But he's gone over the top with like this anti-A&M stuff this week, I think.
All right, so recruiting, top of mind because we're hearing little whispers. Things are, out there. So you want to start off on Jaden Warren?
Yeah, and I can get some detail on really all 3 of the kids that came in last weekend that were committed to other schools in the 2026 class. So it's Jaden Warren, it is KJ Ford, and it's Braylon Womack. We put out an update. I believe it was late Sunday night, or maybe I can't. All my days it was late Monday night. Is what it was. So I can share some of the details now that it's been on the boards for a little bit. Look, to varying degrees, we feel good about A&M landing all 3 of those. Okay, now what I say to varying degrees because let's start at 50-50 and work our way from there. We're not starting at 100-0. A&M is definitively going to flip these guys and working from there. I think we're going to start in the middle and we're going to kind of gradually go toward A&M with each of the following. Okay, so the one that it's tough because I don't have nearly the connections because he's from Flowood, Mississippi, is Braylon Womack. The in-state kids that we're going to talk about, we have more connections to their inner circles than we do a kid from Mississippi. So just going off of what we've been able to gather over the last couple of days, I feel good about A&M being able to pull this off. And this would be a major feather in the hat of Ish Aristide. This is a 5-star safety. You go look at the tape, and you kind of look at what he's done in the 2027 class at safety already with Kamari Dorsey and Jaquan Snell. These are game-changing presence on the back end of a defense. All 3 of them are. Like, these are different level athletes that you're putting on the back end of your defense. So this would be a huge win late in the cycle for Ish Aristide if they're able to pull it off. There is so much uncertainty at Auburn. You hear all these rumors about the next steps for Florida, LSU, what happens at Ole Miss. A lot of it involves Lane Kiffin. There's been a lot of talk about Penn State. Auburn, and maybe this is a good thing for Auburn, there's not been a lot of public information about which direction that job is headed. And maybe privately they are communicating with Braylon Womack about, hey, just be patient, this guy's coming in. We haven't heard anything like that. And a matter of fact, we've heard quite the inverse, is that because of the uncertainty at Auburn and also the uncertainty at Florida, who was also in Braylon Womack's top 3, that the door has been pried open due to that uncertainty, and A&M was able to walk right through it this weekend. And I think the messaging from Coach Elko on down on the staff to Braylon Womack and his family made them clearly understand how much of a priority it is that they get him in this class, they being Texas A&M. I would imagine you'd kind of want something done if you're A&M. Like, I think this is not one that you want to let it go the next 2 weeks because signing day is right here.
Mm-hmm.
This would be something that, a public flip this late in the cycle by a 5-star would be some quality momentum in the recruiting world. Now, are you going to be nitpicky about when he does it or what time? No, because he's that type of player. Like, if he wants to go all the way down to signing day and then announce a flip then, who cares? But I think if you could have it your way, you'd like this one to be publicly done. But because, go back to that 50-50 comment that I said, that coin flip comment, because we don't have as great of an insight or a line to the kid, I think that I'm closer to like 55-45 that A&M can get him. The next two that I'm going to talk about, I think you go up from that 55 number.
Okay. 55 is a good number to be at, by the way.
And so, like, KJ Ford, I actually probably feel better about KJ Ford than Jaden Warren.
Okay.
I was talking to some folks that were on the visit last weekend and various current commits, their families, that kind of deal. There's some real momentum about KJ Ford joining the 2026 class on campus at the end of, next semester, so he'd be an early enrollee. This is a kid that A&M has kept warm. He's been to College Station, 3 or 4 times now, even in the face of a commitment to Florida. We mentioned the kind of flux that the program is in Gainesville right now. And I think A&M, they kept him warm for a reason because he's got real ability. Like, there's no doubt. You turn the tape on, you watch him in camps, you do all the measurables and stuff. KJ Ford's got big-time ability. It was about, okay, don't forget, A&M asked the 2 questions. Can they play at this level? Do they check the boxes for our measurables? And then do they love football? And so I think they were waiting to see if both of those questions were going to be answered as yeses during his senior season, and they have been. Like, the senior tape is really standing out. So he's not just a prospect anymore. He's turning into prospect and player. And I think that's something that this staff really values. And then you look at this position, he can play that Cassius Howell edge role, but he's really not that guy. He's more of the TJ Searcy, bigger-bodied, hand-in-the-ground defensive end, Deion Hayes body style. And I think Deion Hayes is a pretty decent comp the way Deion Hayes plays now. KJ Ford's a better prospect than Deion Hayes was coming out of high school. So, and I think that just the persistence that A&M has met this with, and I think this last weekend may have been what put it over the top. And so, again, nothing is done in recruiting until it's done. This whole thing is mercurial by nature. So saying that David Nuño is committed to Texas A&M, as good as I would feel about that, is pretty foolish just because of the nature of the industry that we're in. So I would go, I feel like 75% confident that they'll end up getting KJ Ford.
Okay.
And then Jaden Warren would fall somewhere in between KJ Ford and Braylon Womack. The hardest thing to decipher with Jaden Warren is he's super quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Really quiet kid, doesn't like a lot of stuff out there. Matter of fact, little peek behind the curtain here, he told K. Drawn at one of his games that he was going to be taking an official visit to Texas A&M, but he told us specifically, I don't really want it out there because that's not me. Well, we sat on it for about a week and a half until the other national service, it got leaked to them, and they ran it. I was really proud of Cade, and I was really proud. That's how we do stuff, right? When the kid tells us, hey, I don't want it out there, then we don't do it. That's always been the way we've operated. But we knew about this official visit being set up for the better part of a month. You look at Jaden and why he's so coveted for Texas A&M and why I think his value has improved throughout the season. It's those track times and how they translate to the football field. This is a kid that's run between 10.1 and 10.2 in the 100 meters. I mean, that's Devon A-Chain level straight line speed. When you turn the tape on, it does translate. It's not just running straight balls down the field, run and go balls down the field. Like, he gets in and out of breaks, catches, and then turns it on. Built sturdy, kind of like a running back. It's a little bit of a, like, strong in his hands, strong catch, turn and run and break tackles, not make you miss, and then run by people. So there's not a ton of wiggle. There's a bunch of explosiveness, though. And I think A&M went, man, like, with what Craver and Concepcion are doing, and Ashton Bethel-Roman, and even Isaiah Williams, who can really run coming off the bench, I think Jaden Warren's value has skyrocketed over the season. Again, a kid that's putting up really, really good numbers in a competitive district on the south side of Houston against some of the best competition in the city, and he keeps showing out and showing out. I've been a huge fan of his from the first time I saw him live last year in the playoffs. I think he's I think he's the most dynamic. Him and Jermaine Bishop, if you want to count Willis as Greater Houston, I think him and Jermaine Bishop are the two most explosive athletes in the city this year. And I've always been a believer that, like, go and get the best players from the city of Houston, whether they measure well or not. Like, I want the best football player from the city of Houston. If I do that enough, if I get the best football player in the city of Houston, regardless of what the recruiting status around him is, I think you're going to hit more often than not on those kids. And I would put Jaden Warren up there with, like I said, Jermaine Bishop. I think the Abear kid at Straight Jesuit, who has run for a bajillion yards, like one of the best football players in Houston. He's committed to the University of Houston as well. But like I said last week, this wasn't going to be Jaden Warren comes on an official visit to A&M. A&M says, hey, we want you. And he says, okay, I'm in. It was never going to be that simple because of the time and resources that U of H has put into the recruitment and because of his relationship with Keyshawn Henderson, the quarterback that's going there. So there, depending on who you talk to in Houston, there's some real A&M momentum there. But because the kid is so quiet, I don't know, like, it's hard to get a read on him directly, like what he and his inner circle are thinking. He's got to make a decision. Like I wrote on Monday night, like the ball's kind of in his court now. Like he understands A&M's position for him, how they're recruiting him, what they want, how they envision his future. And I think he's obviously got connections at U of H that would keep him loyal there. But there's also probably a cleaner path to the field earlier at U of H. I'm just guessing.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying he couldn't come in here and play immediately. He's got that kind of juice. Like, he can really run. But, what does he want? Does he want, like, a much cleaner look at the field as a freshman? Or does he want, the SEC and all that comes with it, and then the growth and development here under Holman Wiggins? Again, that A&M has kind of left the ball in his court on that end.
And then beyond that, which is a lot, by the way, kind of quiet beyond that for flips.
Yeah, it's funny. There are some schools around the country that are experiencing some late flips that are catching them by surprise. So you hesitate to say anything regarding A&M. Remember last year, Hassan Longstreet just kind of – there was a little bit more momentum publicly for USC before he ended up flipping over there. But right now, it is pretty quiet outside of those three for Texas A&M. Like, we're not hearing a lot of buzz for any of the longtime commits getting pushed by other schools. Now that Breeze Carter has decommitted, it sounds like everybody is locked in. But you never know. Like, Dylan Raiola's little brother decommitted from Nebraska this morning out of nowhere. So you just
don't know.
You just don't know, but feel pretty good. It's all quiet everywhere else according to the conversations we're having.
All right, we'll keep it going on the other side. Right now, we're talking Daily Company, a family-owned, licensed, insured business that offers HVAC, electrical, and plumbing generator services available to you 24/7, 365, all day, all the time. HVAC-wise, they have the thermostat repairs, the refrigerant leaks, the furnace failures, and the seasonal tune-ups. On the plumbing side of things, they have leak repairs, clogged drains, water heater installation, and maintenance to keep those pipes into top shape. You've got electrical wiring, outlet repairs, upgrades for safety and efficiency. And on the generator, they'll help repair it. They'll keep it installed to ensure for preparedness for a power outage. They serve Bryan, College Station, Houston, and Austin with upfront prices and no surprises. Contact the Daily Company right now, 979-260-2020. That's 979-260-2020, or visit them at godaily.com to experience the daily difference. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
All right, we're back on Recruiting Country, brought to you by our American Momentum Bank here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Sydney Clevenger's got a quick update for us.
Yes, some exciting news. Aggie volleyball has secured 4 first-team all-conference recognition from the SEC as Afena Kazapala, Logan Lednicki, Kendall Stowers, and Maddie Walk were all among the honorees.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Sid. That's awesome for them.
Jamie Morrison's such a stud. He comes in here and talks to everybody. He had some gear in his hand. I'm sure somebody got hooked up with some gear. Somebody got hooked up with some gear.
I'm allowed to share.
Okay. David got hooked up with some gear. But I'll tell a quick Jamie Morrison story that we told on B-Team. A couple weeks ago, he comes in. He's getting ready he's here early, but he's getting ready to come in for his interview with you. And our groceries got delivered. And nobody would have thought one thing if he'd have just sat in the chairs downstairs to wait for his interview. He started hauling groceries upstairs to help us.
That's Jamie Morrison.
Yeah, just a great dude, man. And it's easy to pull for guys like that. And I don't think that that's for show. I think he sees somebody needed help with something, so he decided he wanted to help.
We have great conversations beyond the show. Like, we're just chatting about life. It's just, I love the way his mind works. All right,
it seems like they got a lot of good people in head coaching positions right now.
Yeah, no, and you can feel it. It wasn't bad before, but you can just feel the synergy, right? They're working as one unit. This weekend, last opportunity potentially to because you can't have visitors during the playoffs.
This is the last opportunity for visitors. Yeah.
So what do we expect?
The short answer is I don't know just yet, but I'm anticipating that they are going to do their best to get in who they can, whether that be. I would imagine there's going to be some 2027 names on that list that they are very intrigued with that have good junior tape, whether it be from around the state, probably more so from around the state, given the opponent and given the time of the kickoff. A lot easier for the in-state kids to get here. These are eval kids that throughout the course of the fall have popped up on their radar as, hey, this is really good tape. Maybe we need to see him in person. Hey, this player is getting offers from maybe not all the big time schools in the SEC, but he's got Mississippi State and Oklahoma State and Baylor and TCU, and we like the tape. Let's get him in and look at him.
Yeah.
Get our eyes on him. So I think that you could see some of that. There'll be inevitably some of the commits come in as it'll be their last time to get inside Kyle Field for a game before signing day. And a lot of them, most of them, will be their last time to get inside Kyle Field before they're enrolled here. It won't be long before those early enrollees. I talked to Madden Williams about it on Saturday after the game, and I said, has it hit you yet that you'll be here in a month and a half? He's like, walking out of the game today, I realized that it's, his season's over at St. John Bosco. They got upset. And he's like, with all of that happening and then the game today, and I'm walking through the tunnel talking to my future teammates, he said, it all kind of hit me this is about to be the real deal here. So both he and Aaron Gregory and Kamari Dorsey and Tristan Givens, they got mobbed coming out of the Bright Football Complex on Saturday with kids wanting autographs.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I don't know if the kids knew exactly who they were or the kids' parents knew who they were. But I tell you this, it does enhance the visit experience whenever recruits get mobbed by little kids wanting autographs whenever they're walking out of the stadium. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about the portal and potential guys we could be, maybe not names, but strategy and whatnot.
It's probably going to, again, who knows? Who knows how they feel about their depth in certain places? You look at what was happening in Austin this year, and the Texas coaching staff chose to believe in the offensive linemen that they had in their room that were inexperienced, but they thought they could develop them. And so they didn't get super active in the transfer portal in the offensive line. That's turned out to hurt them. That does not mean that Texas A&M is going to see that and go, oh, well, since they didn't take players in the portal, we have to.
Right.
It's a completely different situation. It's a completely different coach. It's a completely different development program. So we don't know. What do we really know about how they feel about Blake Ivy and Ashton Funk and Robbie Bordon and Papa Afua, those guys that have now 2 years into the program that we'd heard, hey, there's really good players in this group, but they're just going to sit behind these super experienced veterans. We don't know how Lamont Rogers has developed, how Jonte Newman and Tyler Thomas and the group that they brought in last year, how they've developed. So they could be completely content and say, you know what, maybe we have some money to spend on one guy, but we feel really good about where we're at going forward with Adam Cushing. He feels great about it, and that's a roll of the dice. Just like going out and getting portal guys up front is a roll of the dice. So you have to, like we talked about it a lot last week, this coaching staff and this head coach have earned the benefit of the doubt tenfold with what they've done, and especially with GM Derek Miller. So you think they're going to go add line of scrimmage players, just given what this roster looks like right now.
Right.
And then I think they can be choosy, especially if Marcel comes back, which we think we all anticipate Marcel coming back. What if Le'Veon comes back? It's not a guarantee now that with this injury-riddled season that I think he
would
leaves.
He have eligibility left?
Sure.
He would? Okay.
He was class of 22, right?
Yeah.
And then he redshirted 23. Is that right? 1 year he redshirted.
Okay.
Had to go look. I think Le'Veon's got a year left if
Okay.
he wants it. It's the NCAA right now.
No, you'll find a way.
Everybody's got eligibility left. But listen, I'm not saying that's anything I've heard.
You're just saying it's a...
Yeah, but do they need a back? Well, you've got, let's just say Le'Veon leaves and EJ leaves and Amari leaves, but you still got Reuben, you still got Jamarian, you got Tiger Riding, and then you're bringing in KJ Edwards and Jonathan Hatton, the top two backs in the state of Texas. I don't know. Do you need a back? I think they'll go, maybe if they get a big one, like a bulldozer, a guy that can move the sticks, maybe you go look for that. It's just hard to go through like each room and know how they feel about the depth and where they're absolutely going to have to make additions at. Tight end, you lose Borkacher. I think Theo can come back.
He's class of 22. Yeah, he can come back.
And I think he's redshirted, right?
Yeah.
He's had a red shirt. And then Michael Riley can come back. And then you've got Chiatti from last class.
Right.
And then you're bringing in essentially three with Evan Jacobson, Caleb Tafua, and Caden Johnson. Now, Caden Johnson has been a lifelong quarterback, isn't more of an athlete right now than a tight end. He's a freak athlete, but he's going to take some time. So do you go get, if there's a Nate Borkacher out there that can impact the game at the line of scrimmage and make some clutch catches, like, is that something you do? These are all questions that they're going through right now. As of today, the portal has opened for a lot of sub-Division I players. There's a wide receiver that was at Texas A&M Kingsville named King Phillips. He's originally from Deer Park. He's put up monster numbers at A&M Kingsville. He's had offers rolling in. Now, these offers are G4 offers. I think A&M can be picky, but that's a kid to look at. Like, what does he measure at? What does he run? What does a catapult GPS number say during the game? All these things that they can start putting into their algorithm and see if it spits out a green or a red. But that's the kind of stuff, like they have the luxury of going and doing that now. They can be really selective. I said 2 weeks ago that last portal offseason, they were picking up the phone and calling a lot of people. I think what is already happening is we're seeing that
the
flip.
reverse, yeah.
I think we're seeing them pick up the phone to answer a lot of phone calls. And that makes your job easier, but more difficult at the same time. Because especially with this coaching carousel, how long do you wait for some kids to go in? I can go back and remember a few instances in the last portal cycle where we were getting calls saying, hey, this kid's going in, high-profile kid's going in, and A&M's like where he wants to go, only for that name to never pop up in the portal. So this is a lot of agent games. I think by now, everybody within the fan base and everybody that follows our transfer portal tracker thread, which does incredible numbers, I think everybody kind of understands how this works now.
Yeah.
Like nothing's ever done. You go back and you think about Jalen Braxton last cycle where he was on campus, he committed to Mike Elko, never signed anything to lock him in, and mysteriously just quit communicating with the A&M staff while he was in College Station, and then once he leaves, he's committed to Ole Miss and signed with Ole Miss. So nothing's ever done with these things. It's very fluid, but I like where A&M's at heading into the portal because of how they've operated in the past and how selective and how they are going to be rigidly staying to their standard and to their metrics. And I think whether the phone calls are coming in or going out, as long as everybody understands the structure that you're working under financially, and everybody understands that we are not going to index on players that we think will be cancerous or tumultuous for our locker room, then I think they can make these decisions and make them well again. And again, they've earned such a massive benefit of the doubt.
Ronnie, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. All right, hit a break here. We'll come back. We'll talk to PB on the other side. Peter Burns from the SEC Network. We're talking Milliken Reserve, a farm-to-table community in College Station, homes, trails, farms, wide open spaces, and we're now concentrating on the homes. Neighborhoods at Milliken Reserve are nothing like your typical subdivisions. They're based in entirely that Brazos Valley landscape and heritage, closely linked to the land, with deep Texas roots, and there's no place like Milliken Reserve. The Creek's got homes on 10-plus acre wooded estates, thoughtful expression of the owner's vision. You got the Hollow in a private and gated village community, and you've got the Meadows, homes that are responsive to their natural surroundings. Milliken Reserve, again, is rooted in that Texas soil. If that sounds like a place for you, check out millikenreserve.com to learn more about it. Again, that website is millikenreserve.com, a place you can live, but you can also go hiking, biking, canoeing, you name it. It is Milliken Reserve.
We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go straight to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our dear friend Peter Burns from the SEC Network joining us to talk all things SEC. PB, good morning, buddy.
I actually did live in Corpus with my brother, like the Robert Earl Keen song back in the day. So that actually, it's a perfect song. What's up, buddy? How, nice that you guys got a taste of, normal human football teams last year, and actually, or this last week, and had to rally back.
Yeah, it's interesting though. Like when other teams go through it, I don't feel the strays as much as when A&M goes through it. I recognize that A&M's schedule has been kind to them based on what has happened, but it's not like they've avoided teams or anything, right? Like they've got 3 ranked wins. They've beaten LSU on the road. They've beaten Notre Dame on the road. They've taken on SEC teams that have played teams very tight, like South Carolina, who may have not won a lot of games, but they played Bama tight, and other teams as well. But yet, all I hear is, those mistakes from the A&M game.
Yeah, I mean, again, all of those people need to shut the hell up. Don't apologize for playing the schedule that's in front of you. I can see that if you didn't go up to South Bend and beat the Irish up there, right? Had you just said, hey, we're going to play East Texas A&M and, we're going to roll the ball out and we'll just crush them and, we're just trying to, play the lines here of easy games. But that's not what Elko and the Aggies did. So, again, that's a dangerous team. And that's what people don't understand in, the other conferences is that South Carolina was arguably maybe the worst team, if not one of the top 3 worst teams in the league. They still had Lenore Sellers, who's a draft pick, Nick Harper, who's a freak of athlete, Dylan Stewart. They're still dudes. There's at least probably 5 NFL players in South Carolina, and there's probably, 7 or 8, Big Ten teams that don't have 3 NFL players on their team. So the idea that you're going through this week in and week out is wild. And I think it's even going to get crazier when we start getting the 9 conference games next year.
Yeah, Peter, look, I just like that this team has beat teams in multiple ways. And I asked this question at the top of the show. I'll ask you, do you think if the LSU game happened now, okay, that's what we're talking about this week, this late in the college football playoff, was it week 3 of the rankings, that maybe that would have felt a little bit different? Because I think it's all about timing of when you do things.
Yeah, there's obviously a recency bias, and that's why when people lose their mind over, oh my God, Alabama's here and Notre Dame's here, I'm like, dude, relax. The College Football Playoff Committee, don't, as soon as you see the rankings, just stop watching, because no way someone's going to be able to talk through the rationale that doesn't contradict themselves from other years. So, yeah, I think there is a little bit of a recency bias, but, the good news is for Aggie fans, you don't have to worry about it. Right? You control your own fate right now of what you're going to do, and you have an opportunity to go to Texas and, basically do what they were able to do to you guys last year, which is kind of end everything. Could there be a sweeter road to the end of this season than A&M ending the season in Austin, ending their entire college football playoff hopes, and then winning a national championship? You couldn't do it. There's no way that you could script anything better than what Elko and the Aggies have done so far this season.
Elko got that extension. It was expected. What do you think about Coach Elko maybe being Coach of the Year?
Yeah, I don't know how he's not the Coach of the Year. I'm still shocked at the contract extension. I got to be honest with you. And this is not a Mike Elko thing. Right? How much have I gone to bat for Elko? I think he's the dude, right? But I also look at it and I'm like, well, are we not getting ourselves into the same situation that Jimbo Fisher got? Hey, you're on the cusp of a college football playoff and you miss it. And that was obviously 2020. And then they're worried about Jimbo going elsewhere and they give him this extension that obviously didn't work out. And I'm happy for Elko. This is not an Elko thing, but I'm like, Elko was making $3.5 million, a couple years ago. You paid him $7.5 million and a lot of incentives to do pretty much what he's doing right now, which is get him to be the college football playoff. And so I'm like, that's great for him for getting the money. I just don't understand why you needed to extend him, especially when it gets leaked before a game. Can you imagine you lose that game on the morning that you announce this extension? If we've never learned anything from what happened in that one, let's just wait till after a game for stuff like that to come out. But I mean, again, was Elko going to go into Trev Albert's office and be like, "Hey, Penn State's calling, and if you guys don't hit this, I'm hitting the road"? We both know that wasn't going to be the case. And if he did, then he's not the right guy for A&M as a program. But hey, man, it's not my money. You guys got your guy, and I hope he keeps winning because it's fun as hell to watch him in play.
Well, then, PB, let me follow up with, like, what does A&M do, though? Like, because that is the world of college football, right? You know, Cignetti gets his extension. Lane continues to get his extensions every year. Like, so what does A&M do in that situation when that's kind of today's norm?
Yeah, you buck the norm, right? I mean, just because things have always been done that way, do we think any coach, and let's say, and I hate to couch this. This is more of a bigger picture thing than a Mike Elko thing. But like in Kurt Cignetti at Indiana, you got to pay him because it's Bloomington, Indiana. I mean, like, they've never experienced this, right? Like, this is people that are dying for thirst, and all of a sudden they found the desert, whatever it is, the oasis, and they can drink from it. And they're like, okay, we can't afford to lose this. You're A&M football. You have arguably one of the best fan bases that are out there, and you've got the best facilities. You're in a recruiting base right now. You're different than a lot of these programs that have to do that. And so I was wondering when an athletic director is ever going to say, hey, I get it. Like, we're paying you well and you're doing your job. Like, you used to be making $3 million and now we're making $7.5 million plus the incentives that you get. Like, to all of a sudden change that, I don't know if that needs to be done, because I can't stand when I hear any athletic directors across the country complain about, well, the House settlement this and we're pinching pennies and stuff like that. Well, are you really? I mean, you're paying a guy a salary to do a job. He's doing the job. If you want to give him everything after he accomplishes, if it's a college football national championship or a runner-up, go ahead and do that. But if you're worried about somebody stealing your coach at A&M, buddy, I don't think you got to worry about that, because that may be one of the crown jewel good jobs in all of college football.
Talking to Peter Burns here on TexAgs Live. Peter, I am trying to figure out the musical chairs of these coaches, and I'm thinking about LSU. I'm thinking about Florida. I'm thinking about Ole Miss. I'm thinking about maybe Missouri. I'm thinking about Arkansas. I'm thinking about even Texas a little bit. So do you have a good sense? And not that I think Sark would get fired, or I don't know if he's really believing in thinking about going elsewhere. I just know there's a lot of smoke, and it just makes me wonder how these chess pieces will play out.
Yeah, I mean, again, and Lane Kiffin talked about it, and they have this kind of group text among Kirby and others. They're like, hey, you fire one, you lose one job, or one game, you're out of the top 10. You lose two games, you're probably out of the top 25. You lose 3, you might get fired. And it's a quick slope right now for these coaches. And again, so that's what Sark has kind of said. He was asked, hey, how disappointing is the season? He's like, disappointing to who? And he's not wrong, right? I mean, like, it was the media that put this, the Longhorns are the number 1 team in the country. And I don't know if Sark was ever going to say it, but he probably thought, no, we're good. We have a chance to be great, but we end up being, let's say, 9-3 or 8-4. I think just fans need to understand, with the amount of parity, it's a lot more like the NFL days now, to where, just because you're a brand doesn't mean you're guaranteed to go 10-2 every year. I think it's going to be wild. I mean, the first domino in this whole situation is Lane Kiffin. Like, you just got to wait till Lane decides, and hopefully we hear it within the next probably 5 or 6 days on what direction he goes, and then all the dominoes fall from there.
All right, if Lane doesn't choose Baton Rouge, all right, let's just say, where do you think they turn their attention?
It's a great question. I think they'll definitely get a look at, I guess you look at Kenny Dillingham out at Arizona State, but I don't know. I mean, Kenny's like, hey, I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere else. Well, that's easy to say until somebody flashes LSU job in front of you. I think they definitely go in and talk a lot to Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri. I mean, it makes sense. He's done a great job, whether he was at App State, then he did a good job the last couple of years over at Missouri. And keep in mind, LSU's defensive coordinator is Blake Baker, who used to work with Eli in Missouri. And so pairing those two up would make a whole heck of a lot of sense. But I still, and I'm this way on Lane, I'm this way on Drink, I hope these coaches stay at where they're at. Because, again, if Vanderbilt can compete for a title or at least a playoff spot where they're at, if Kurt Cignetti can do it at Indiana, I want these coaches to stay where they're at and build legacies. I just don't think that's in their nature right now.
Yeah, I agree. PB, any game stick out to you this weekend in the SEC that could be upset alert?
Yeah, I think Missouri, Oklahoma is interesting, right? I mean, I'm fascinated because how Oklahoma right now, it's almost, I wouldn't say a trap game, but Missouri's still pretty damn good. And just how physical Oklahoma played last week against Alabama, and that was a physical game. Like, is there a letdown when you've basically saved your season? I mean, that's probably the big one that I'm circling. But then all eyes are going to be, of course, on that final weekend. I mean, the triple header on Friday that all have playoff implications. And then on Thanksgiving Saturday, I mean, we've got the Iron Bowl at night with Alabama, in Auburn. I mean, buddy, it's must-see television to say the least.
PB, I appreciate you, brother. Talk to you soon.
See y'all.
Later. Peter Burns here on TexAgs Live. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with the final segment. Sydney Clevenger's got a lot of great thoughts to give us to close out the show. Right now, if you are looking for a new opportunity in life, maybe just different job, different change of pace, you want to move to this community, check out the Association of Former Students because they have openings from time to time in several different types of departments, from fundraising to marketing to sales to communications. They're really the premier alumni association, and they've been serving the Aggie Network for over 140 years, and they play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out the association with Howdy Socials, Aggie Reading Day, class reunions, and everything in between. You can join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining a team or know someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students.
Final segment of the program. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We've got a couple minutes left, so we'll go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center and wrap up today. So, Sydney Clevenger, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm going to get into some football awards. Cassius Howell has now been selected as a finalist for the Lombardi Award. His 11.5 sacks rank second in the nation and are the highest amount for the Aggies since Myles Garrett in 2014, which, by the way, he is now at 15 sacks for the Browns. I feel like there's a good chance we'll see Sackus strike again this Saturday against Stanford. And then also Ashton Bethel-Roman was named Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Player of the Week honorable mention. Last Saturday, he bagged 139 yards on 4 grabs, creating a new career high. ABR is now at 3 touchdowns after his outstanding 39-yard diving catch in the end zone. His 76-yarder was another career high, which puts him at 16 receptions for 381 yards this season.
Sid, great stuff. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. So tomorrow's show's going to be a good one. We're going to have Stephen McGee, as we normally do. Ryan Swope will be joining us. Aaron Torres will be joining us. We'll talk to AT. I'm not going to make it awkward, Nick. It's going to be a very friendly conversation.
That's not true. You're definitely going to make it awkward.
Okay. I'll make it awkward, but not because of his opinion. I don't care about people's opinions. I'd like to have dialogue about opinions. Just don't do it under a freeway. That's it.
I agree with that. Yeah.
All right, and don't do it walking your dog in the middle of Compton, where like people are like fighting and like yelling, like that. Just that. That's all. Jim Turner will be on the show. I think Coach G's stopping by. We haven't chatted with him since he retired, so we'll chit chat with Coach G and start to report the fan show guys as well. Hunter, Matt, and Roy May. All that and more. I'm kidding, guys. You know I love you. We'll see you mañana.